intraday trading before settling in the green. And massive jolt to Erdogan. Turkey's main opposition party wins local elections in two main cities of Istanbul and Ankara. A shock defeat for the Turkish president, who returned to power for a third term less than a year ago. But the big story that we are breaking this evening, Arvind Kejriwal will spend his first night now in Tihar jail. He's been lodged in jail number 2. Kejriwal is to sleep on a slab of cement. 24/7 CCTV surveillance of Kejriwal's barrack. Sources saying 6 visitors, including his wife Sunita, will be allowed to meet Kejriwal. All this coming on a day when he was sent to judicial custody for 15 days till April the 15th. The Delhi court remanding him there. The ED in its application interestingly claiming that Kejriwal was evasive during interrogation. Kejriwal supporters are claiming that this is all a plot by the Modi government to prevent the Aam Aadmi Party leader and Delhi Chief Minister from being allowed to campaign in the Lok Sabha polls. Take a look at tonight's detailed report.
Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal is jailed. A Delhi court on Monday sent him to 14-day judicial custody in the liquor policy case. The Enforcement Directorate produced Kejriwal in the Rouse Avenue court, presided by Special Judge Kaveri Baveja after his custody ended. Kejriwal was sent to Tihar jail after the ED sought judicial remand. In its application to court, the ED alleged that Kejriwal had provided false and contradictory evidence during their inquiry. ED claimed Kejriwal had evaded questions and had refused to disclose passwords to his digital devices. Furthermore, he allegedly labelled his own party leaders as confused. Kejriwal claimed that accused Vijay Nair reported to Atishi and Saurabh Bharadwaj and asserted that his interaction with Nair was limited.
He's taken your name in the case for the first time.
Delhi Minister Atishi evaded questions on Kejriwal's claims.
According to them, Mr. Kejriwal has made a statement.
अरविंद केजरीवाल जी राजनीति में किसी को सामने नहीं आने देते। अब वो आतिशी जी को और सौरभ भारद्वाज को फंसाने जा रहे हैं, क्योंकि वो जानते हैं अगर वो बाहर रहेंगे वो मुख्यमंत्री बन जाएंगे, अरविंद केजरीवाल जेल में रह जाएंगे।
Ahead of his court appearance, Kejriwal had criticized the Prime Minister's actions.
अरविंद जी, पूरा इंडिया गठबंधन कल आपके लिए जुटा मामले में था, क्या कहेंगे?
मंत्री जी जो ये कर रहे हैं ये देश के लिए अच्छा नहीं है।
Sunita Kejriwal, the Chief Minister's wife, accused the BJP government of seeking to incarcerate the AAP chief during elections.
11 दिन उनकी पूछताछ हुई है, पूछताछ पूरी हो गई है। अदालत ने दोषी नहीं कहा, उनको जेल में क्यों डाला है? लोगों का एक ही मकसद है, इनको चुनावों में उनको जेल में डालना है। देश की जनता इस तानाशाही का जवाब देगी।
The BJP rejected the AAP charge, accusing Kejriwal of playing victim card.
Those who try to portray the bogey of victimhood, I would like to underline that today's judgment of the court is based on the concrete evidences. Now it raises certain moral and constitutional questions.
This is the dictatorship of Mr. Modi. 2,715 crores BJP extorted from industrialists using ED.
Meanwhile, Kejriwal has made specific requests for his stay in Tihar jail. He has sought permission to take many books, including the Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana and Mahabharata. He also wants access to necessary medicines and a special diet. Kejriwal has requested a table and a chair to facilitate his work and personal activities. Several Aam Aadmi Party leaders, including Sanjay Singh, Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain, are already in Tihar in separate cells. With Kejriwal also sent to jail, AAP is facing an uphill battle to salvage its political fortunes in 2024 elections. With Munish Pandey, Shreya Chatterjee and Shrishti Ojha in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
And joining me now is the first of my special guests, Justice Madan Lokur, former Supreme Court judge, joins me at this moment. Appreciate you're joining us, Justice Lokur. Let's turn to this Arvind Kejriwal case. The Delhi liquor policy scam, as it's being called, the investigations began in August of 2022. Arrests were made in September, October. We are now in April of 2024. Mr. Kejriwal has been arrested, sent to 15 days judicial custody, and the ED says they sent him 8 summons which he did not appear before them. So he's been arrested. There are approvers there. They claim they will have a chain that will link Mr. Kejriwal, whom they call a mastermind. How do you see this case then? As a possible excess of power, abuse of power by the ED, or as the ED is claiming, a necessary step to prevent money laundering and crack this case?
Well, I think this is, an exercise that has been taken by the Enforcement Directorate in excess of its powers. You see, for example, you say in August 2022, the whole thing started, right? So we are almost 1.5 years down the line. Now, is the Enforcement Directorate trying to say that, listen, we've not been able to complete the investigation in 1.5 years, in spite of the fact that they've put in Manish Sisodia inside for such a long time, all right? So what is it that is preventing them from completing the investigation? If they have the material, why are they not in a position to file the charge sheet? Why is it taking them so long to figure out what to do, right? And what is the material on the basis of which they have come to the conclusion, or the authority has come to the conclusion, that Mr. Kejriwal should be arrested?
Sir,
and if that material was in existence earlier, why didn't they arrest him earlier?
Why didn't they arrest him earlier? You see, the argument the Enforcement Directorate is making, Justice Lokur, is they've gone step by step. They've arrested various individuals and have built a chain that links the so-called Southern Cartel of distillers with the Delhi government and payments made. They've got approvers in place. And as I said earlier, they've sent 8 summons to Mr. Kejriwal starting in October 2023. So when there are people who are questioning the timing and saying, why arrest someone just before an election? The Enforcement Directorate is turning around and saying, look, we've been trying to get summons and question him 6 months ago, and we've carefully crafted this case step by step. None of the accused have got bail, not even Manish Sisodia.
Well, first of all, I think, the accused should have got bail, right? Why are they being kept in jail? Okay, that is the question that has to be asked. All right. Now, I think the law is fairly well settled that if you are going to tamper with the evidence, or you are going to, influence the witnesses and so on, is there any material that Manish Sisodia, for example, is going to tamper with the evidence, or that he's going to influence witnesses? If witnesses had to be influenced, Arvind Kejriwal could have done that much earlier. All right. So what is it? What is it that is compelling the Enforcement Directorate to demand their arrest? And what is it that is compelling the courts to say that, yes, these people should continue to remain behind bars? Now today, for example, it is said that Mr. Kejriwal is uncooperative. Well, what do you expect him to do? What do you expect any accused person to do? They have a constitutional right to remain silent. All right. So after you arrest a person, you can't ask him to, confess to everything unless he wants to.
Justice Lokur, let me just stop you for a moment. You say you are surprised that bail has not been granted and they've all been sent to jail in this case. This is where I come to a critical point, that the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, as it is drafted today, is being seen by many legal luminaries as a draconian law. It has reversed the entire basis of bail, not jail. The Supreme Court had said in the state of Rajasthan case way back in 77 that bail, not jail should be the rule. It's now effectively been reversed in PMLA to jail, not bail. Does that make in a sense? Is PMLA the problem? Or is it the Enforcement Directorate or whoever is allowing the Enforcement Directorate to weaponize PMLA, which is the problem?
Both. You see, it's not mandatory. It's not mandatory that you have to arrest a person, right? So when you arrest a person, okay, the law says that he has to, prove his innocence. All right, that's a draconian aspect. That's a question of reverse onus. All right, which is draconian, because the normal presumption is that a person is innocent until proved guilty. But here the onus is reversed. That's one draconian aspect. The second aspect is the procedure. Why are you arresting him? I mean, are you arresting him because you have the power to arrest? If that is, the explanation, then I'm sorry, it can't be like that.
But may I say, Justice Lokur, that it is the Supreme Court itself which in July 2022 ratified many of these very provisions of the PMLA that have virtually given the Enforcement Directorate the kind of powers that they can go ahead and do these summary arrests, some on mere suspicion, some would say, but with reasonable belief. So in a way, and that judgment has not been reviewed till date, even the Supreme Court has said it will review it. We are now in 2024 and the bench has not even met to review that critical judgment on PMLA.
Yeah, you see, Rajdeep, mere suspicion is not good enough. The law says that the arresting authority, that is the deputy director or whoever it is, must have reason to believe that the person has committed an offense, right? And the expression reason to believe is justiciable. So it's not just suspicion. Suspicion is not reason to believe. There has to be something much more on the basis of which you're arresting a person. So in that sense, it has been weaponized. The law has been weaponized, where you just say that, well, I suspect that you've done some, offense, so therefore I'm arresting you.
But that's
it's not like that.
Sir, but the word reason to believe under Section 19 of the PMLA, which allows the Enforcement Directorate to arrest someone because they have reason to believe that he has committed the crime of money laundering with a very wide range of predicated offences. Do you believe that given the nature of these words, we need greater clarity? And this must come from the Supreme Court itself. Otherwise, this phrase will be misused to arbitrarily arrest people in different cases.
Yes, it is. We do need clarity. You see, the expression reason to believe is not a new expression, right? It's there in the Income Tax Act, and you will find 100 judgments on what is the meaning of reason to believe. It is not subjective, all right? It is objective. So when the authority says that I have reason to believe, it has to be an objective reason to believe, which has to be put down in writing. Okay. Now, that reason to believe, if it's a sort of a make-believe kind of reason, the expression reason to believe, the reasons are justiciable. Under the income tax law, reason to believe has been challenged, and assessees have succeeded in showing that there is no reason to believe.
Sir, let me make the most direct question now. Is, in your view, as a retired Supreme Court judge, the Enforcement Directorate being misused through the PMLA to settle scores by the government of the day with political opponents? That's the fear that the opposition expresses. The government says you're looking at only a fraction of the cases being prosecuted by the ED. There are a number of cases which involve businessmen where their assets are being seized. Why only focus on politicians? So do you see the ED being misused to target political opponents of the government like Mr. Kejriwal?
It appears to be so. It appears to be so. There are circumstances on the basis of which it appears that only some persons are being targeted.
That's a very serious charge you're making, but what then for you is the solution, Justice Lokur? Because if that is is the case, the Enforcement Directorate and its powers are being weaponized, what is the solution to ensure that there is no miscarriage of justice and an individual's personal liberty is not compromised when he's sent to jail?
Well, one is, I think, the Enforcement Directorate would have to be reined in, right? You cannot weaponize a law just because the law is there. Second, I think the courts have to be far more vigilant that the procedures that are there in the law are being followed. Okay? Now, once that is done, the sting in the law will probably disappear. It appears to me that the courts are not following fully the procedure that is there in the law, or not demanding from the ED that you follow the procedure.
But sir, in the Arvind Kejriwal case, the ED is arguing that they believe he's the mastermind, he's the chief minister of a state, so he is in a position to tamper with evidence. That has been their argument in court.
Okay. Now, the Supreme Court has also said that since you believe that a person is going to tamper with the evidence, or the person is likely to influence the witnesses, is not good enough. On what basis are you saying that you believe that this is going to happen? I mean, anybody can tamper with evidence, anybody can tamper with witnesses, right? So merely making that allegation is not good enough. You have to have some basis for coming to the conclusion that this person has attempted or has in fact tampered with the evidence.
But Justice Lokur, there is also talk of vicarious liability in this case, where the Aam Aadmi Party as a political organization, according to the ED, could be held liable and could be accused in a charge sheet. Do you see that again as a potential access to virtually cut a political party out of our system by charging them under the PMLA?
No, I don't think so. This kind of vicarious liability in criminal law, in a situation like this, I don't buy it.
So there is no, you're saying you don't buy vicarious liability. In conclusion, with the possibility, sir, that Mr. Kejriwal could now spend an extended period in jail, may I ask you, do you believe that a government can be run out of jail, or will the courts have to now intervene and set some guidelines in your view?
Well, I think constitutional morality requires that Mr. Kejriwal should quit. All right, that's constitutional morality. But, well, if he chooses, that I don't care about constitutional morality, I'm going to run the government, there's nothing to stop him. So many people are violating, constitutional morality. Governors have been accused of violating constitutional morality. So if he says I'm going to violate it, so what?
But do you believe at least that expeditiously, at the very earliest, there should be a judicial review, sir, of the PMLA judgment that is hanging fire since July 2022? You will recall, sir, in September last year, certain political parties went to court, opposition parties, and said, give us protection against the misuse of the law. Court said we can't treat political parties separate to individual citizens. Do you believe there should be a review of the law that will protect not just politicians, but every citizen will be ensured that his or her civil liberties are protected and the PMLA is not misused?
Yes, I think it should be done immediately. The review should be done immediately. The whole issue has to be looked at in the perspective of the Constitution also. The right to silence. That's a very, very important right, which is not being enforced, in the sense that the directorate keeps saying not cooperative. I mean, you don't expect an accused person to cooperate. What are you there for? I think the whole thing has to be looked at all over again.
Can I though put you on the line, Justice, and say, if you were in the judge's place now, would you give Mr. Kejriwal bail based on the facts that are available before us in the public domain?
On the facts that are available in the public domain, yes, I think a strong case has been made out for bail. Yes.
Mr. Justice Madan Lokur,
yeah, but let me be clear about one thing. There might be something more which we don't know. All right. But from the facts which are available in the public domain, I think he deserves bail.
Okay. Justice Lokur, for answering all my questions and answering them so candidly, thank you very much for joining me here on the news today. In a way, he has set the stage. Justice Lokur saying this is a case of bail, not jail, calling for a review of the PMLA, saying constitutional morality requires Kejriwal to resign, but he's not obligated to do that. Lots of points raised. Let's raise big questions to our political guests now. Is Kejriwal being taken out of the Lok Sabha campaign as his supporters allege? Can Kejriwal really function effectively from jail? Has the PMLA been weaponized to target political rivals of the government? Some of the questions that I will raise. Adil Singh Bopara is Congress spokesperson and lawyer. RP Singh is BJP spokesperson. Priyanka Kakkar is from the Aam Aadmi Party. Appreciate all of you joining us. RP Singh, you might have heard there Justice Madan Lokur saying, based on the facts of the case as they are available in the public domain, he thinks this was a case for bail, not jail. What was the necessity for arrest, particularly so many months after the original case was prosecuted?
Rajdeep, good evening. You just mentioned a friend from Congress party as a lawyer. Adil Bopara is a very learned lawyer. You didn't mention Priyanka Kakkar is also a lawyer. And you are also trying to defend the Aam Aadmi Party with Justice Lokur. You're trying to plead the case with Justice Lokur as it was as a court room happening. And in a court, you were trying to defend the Aam Aadmi Party.
I'm not, no, so that's unfair. Unfair, I ask question. My job is to, sir, let's not be unfair either to Justice Lokur or to me. Let's not again make it personal. I asked you a question. I expect the dignity of a decent answer. I said, do you believe on the basis, as Justice Lokur said, this was a case for bail, not jail? How do you respond?
Rajdeep, please don't push me to, I mean, let me answer what I have to say. I mean, you had your point of view. You don't, why do you take it personal? I mean, your viewers, let viewers judge it. I mean,
please,
you know what you let your viewers judge it. Let your viewers understand that you are trying to plead a case. So you virtually built up a courtroom here and you got Justice Lokur to say what you wanted him to say and then you pleaded the case. Let's accept it. You have certain soft corner for Aam Aadmi Party and Kejriwal and other parties. You have, I mean, nothing wrong in it. I mean, one can have agenda also as an anchor also. What's wrong in it? There's nothing wrong in it. But coming to the point, sir, Justice Lokur is not above law. If he feels so good about the case, let him go and plead this in the court, not in your studio. This is not for the studio to decide. And we don't know what all the ED has pleaded or what all ED has presented to the court. And on what ground the court has given 15 days jail to judicial custody to Mr. Kejriwal. I mean, who are we to decide on this? And you were talking about that can he tamper with the proofs? Do you remember that Rajshekhar Reddy's case where at midnight his office was broken and then all documents were, it was alleged that his files and documents were removed from his office. The vigilance department head, person was heading the vigilance department. So as a Chief Minister, he has a track record of such activities where the midnight raids are being done on the offices of the officers to remove the files or do away with the files, whatever. I mean, that is the allegation. But fact is that court has gone through everything. Court would have seen everything. Okay. And then court could have reasonable reasons to send him to jail. Otherwise, why will court send him to jail?
Okay, so you're saying let's not question, let's not prejudge what the court has said. Let's go by the court's ruling. The court is presumably Priyanka Kakkar is the Aam Aadmi Party saying even the courts of this country have been compromised. The fact is Arvind Kejriwal is getting the due process under the law that any citizen would get. He's not an exception. He's not some, he cannot be given exceptional treatment simply because he's the Chief Minister of Delhi. According to the ED, they claim he's the mastermind of the alleged Delhi liquor scam. And they will eventually establish a money trail leading right up to him based on approver statements.
Good evening to everyone, Rajdeep ji. Well, it's been 2 years and the ED does not know whether Arvind Kejriwal ji is an accused or a witness to date. It doesn't have a name in the ECIR or FIR. To date, there's been no trial. It's been 11 years that he's behind bars already based on 2 statements, based on 4 statements rather, but 2. Those were just the other 2 were only about the personal secretary of Manish Sisodia ji saying that he was present in a meeting where Manish Sisodia ji gave certain documents to the secretary. Arvind Kejriwal ji was present in that meeting. That is the kind of statement they have implicated him on. Is that a ground enough for arrest of a sitting CM? Second, P. Sarath Reddy and Manguta Reddy and his son Raghava Reddy. Both of them gave several statements to the ED at the time when the son was arrested. Today, he's gotten a ticket, the father has gotten a ticket off from the TDP in Andhra Pradesh. This person turned an approver, Sarkari Gawah, in the case after much duress and pressure, which will come to light. And his statement is also to the fact that Arvind Kejriwal ji said, meet Vijay Nair, and that is it. That is not a statement enough for arresting a sitting CM. These are 3 and 4 statements. The 4th statement is of P. Sarath Reddy, who turned an approver, gave 60 crores to BJP, and then turned an approver and got his bail. See, these are the kind of statements.
So you're saying, okay,
Rajdeep, this is wrong.
Let Sardar RP,
No, this is not the complete truth.
Priyanka ji, let Sardar RP Singh respond, and then I'll go to Adil Singh. Yes, respond.
One
Sardar
more
RP.
point.
No,
one more point, and you can go.
Yeah, okay.
One more point.
Yeah, do it. Go ahead.
You are missing on
one more point.
Yes.
So what has happened with these new amendments in 2018 that the BJP brought into the PMLA Act, the effect of which is that the only condition that anybody can get a bail under PMLA is if the ED does not oppose their bail. Only then the twin conditions of 45 do not come into play. So this is the entire khel that the BJP
not quite. The accused has to show that there is no offence made out. That is what the bail provision is. And that reverses the provision. No, ma'am, it doesn't mean that if the ED opposes the bail, the court has to. No, please do not mislead the audience. Do not mislead the audience, ma'am.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Please believe me when I say you can speak to a legal expert that today under only one condition will section 45 not be attracted. It is when the ED says that they have no objection to the bail. It is only then 45 will not be attracted.
Okay, that's your view. That's your, ma'am. You made your point. Priyanka ji, you made your point. Now please put a fader down. That's your view. There are people like Sanjay Raut who the ED opposed their bail, but they did get bail. So it's not as simple as that. There is a twin test and it's a very difficult one. I concede that.
Yes.
Getting bail under PMLA is very difficult. Sardar RP Singh, you want to make a point. Please make it quickly.
And it is not only Sanjay Raut, there are many others who have got bail, even in spite of ED opposed it. But it is a court who takes a call.
No, sir, but it is very difficult. Sardar RP Singh, it is extremely difficult because the onus has been shifted on the person accused.
So 14 parties approached the court. And then what did the court say? That your jugglery, give me a second, please. Your jugglery of statistics doesn't allow us to make it a rule, make it a guideline. This is what was said with the court. So all the parties tried their best, but let's admit, in case of Mr. Kejriwal, Madam is skipping, Priyanka Madam is skipping for one thing. What about their friend, what is his name? Give me a second.
Sir, you think about the name. In the meantime, I'm going to go to Adil Singh Boparai.
Vijay Nair. Sorry, my apologies. My apologies. No. Second. 1 sec, 30 seconds. Vijay Nair. What was the friend name? Vijay Nair, who was staying in Mr. Galot's bungalow. Mr. Galot was called for that. And now Mr. Kejriwal is saying that I have nothing to do with Mr. Vijay Nair. It is Atishi and Saurabh Bhardwaj who was dealing with Vijay Nair. So in a way he is saying that, I am not responsible for whatever Vijay Nair has committed, whatever money he has taken. There are bank accounts, details on record which says that money has transferred.
Okay.
And it's a bank account of Hugo Bank.
Mr. RP Singh, you always complain of not getting sufficient time. You must allow now Adil Singh Boparai to speak. Adil Singh Boparai, you are a lawyer, right? I want to understand from you, do you concede that it becomes difficult in a PMLA case now for Mr. Kejriwal, as it would for any citizen, based on the facts of this case, to get instant bail? and therefore he has to be prepared in a way for a long period behind bars.
Mr. Sardesai, the PMLA operates at two levels. The first level is, which is in theory, a money laundering legislation which was designed to ensure that we comply with the international obligations under the FATF. Now, the second and the more material level is in practice, where the ED is being used by the duo of the BJP to arm twist, browbeat, coerce, and induce political opponents. Now, please understand the BJP is using the agencies to arguably run the largest, and I repeat, the largest extortion racket of the world. Now, coming to the legal points here. Firstly, statements of co-accused are traditionally and conceptually a weak type of evidence. Now, to my understanding, the only evidence which they have against Mr. Kejriwal is a statement made by a co-accused in ED custody. Now, this is something which the courts have to consider. In the absence of any corroborative evidence, whether this meets the test under Section 19. Number two, which is the Vijay Madanlal judgment, which is under review. Now, even though we respect the judgment of the Supreme Court, but to our mind, there are some fundamental problems, and I will list 4 such problems. Number one, the cardinal principle under criminal law is that there is a presumption of innocence. Under the PMLA, there is a reversion or an inversion of the burden of proof. Number two, statements made before ED officers who to our mind are akin to police officers is judicially admissible. Number three, the twin conditions. Now, please understand, under 45, which at an earlier point in time was struck down by Justice Nariman, Section 45 says that the court has to come to a satisfaction that the person is not guilty. So therefore, the threshold, once charges are invoked against you under the PMLA, securing bail means that the accused will have to demonstrate that he is not guilty of the offense. So therefore, the threshold to secure bail certainly becomes more difficult. And number four, which to my mind is something which is unheard of in criminal jurisprudence across legal systems, the Vijay Madanlal judgment says that a copy of the ECIR shall not be supplied to the accused person. Now, please tell me, if I do not even know the substance of the accusation which is against me, how do I meet the charges?
Yeah, but that is true. That is true. Adil, you make very fine points, but that is true of all accused under PMLA. That does not limit itself to Kejriwal. That's the wider point that the Supreme Court of this country has not yet reviewed the judgment of July 2022.
I'm glad you put this question to me. Now, please see the timing. This case in the liquor case has been going on for almost, the investigation has been going on for the past 2 years. Why the arrest now? Why the arrest on the eve of the elections? And what is the evidence which they have? Unless and until the ED has something more, until the ED has a money trail, which to my mind, it has none.
They are claiming they have statements of approvers, they have statements of the likes of Vijay Nair. You're saying that's not enough?
24 hours, Mr. Sardesai, you give me the ED for 24 hours, I can... Please understand how the police functions in this country. I don't need to say more. Please see how statements are extracted under duress in police custody. The ED officers are akin to police officers. That is why I think it is time for the Supreme Court to reconsider its position under Section 50. Statements made before the ED officers should not be judicially admissible. Okay. This is a fundamental flaw which needs to be considered.
I have a couple of minutes and I want to ask each of you a central question. It appears, as I said, that Mr. Kejriwal may well spend an extended period, may not even be able to campaign in the Lok Sabha elections. Do you believe that constitutional morality Priyanka Kakkar demands that he step down till such time as he is out on bail at the very least?
Rajdeep, where is the money that you have put a case of money laundering on us? Where is the money? So they will say anything through anybody and we should just step down? Why should we? Where have we failed? We gave you a profit. Delhi is the only state which is with a revenue surplus budget which gives Jan Kalyan Suvidhai to its citizens. Tell me one BJP state which is in profit. That is because they are corrupt. They pocket the money. Why should we buckle down? Because they put a false case on us after 2 years, have not been able to establish where the money is, let alone be in money laundering.
You're saying where is the money? Mr. R.P. Singh, you want to respond to what you hear? This point has been made that where is the actual money that links Mr. Kejriwal to this liquor scam. Mr. Kejriwal, the individual now.
Well, Rajdeep, what this state has been, Delhi has been in profit or in advantageous state since 1993, not now because of them. I mean, this is a wrong perception they are trying to create about that they have brought probably state into profits. Secondly, as for money trail, court has categorically mentioned something like 335 crore rupees money trail, which court has, is a court observation that there is a money trail with Manish Sisodia, and court has upheld that. One. Secondly,
no, so the court, sir, I must correct you now. I must correct you. At no stage has the court, sir, the court has not said that Manish Sisodia, the individual, has got the money, or Kejriwal. That's why I mentioned individual. The court says, court has not mentioned about specific individuals having got the money.
Can I?
Yes, sir.
But court has said that there is a money trail. Give me a second, Rajdeep, please. I mean, you said something. Let me answer that. The court categorically said there's a money trail in with Manish Sisodia. And if you want, I'll send you the complete details of the court observation. One. Secondly,
yes,
as for money trail, Rajinder Singh Solanki, one of the candidates, give me another 5 seconds. Rajinder Singh Solanki, one of the candidates in Bartoli in Gujarat, was caught red-handed with money, some 20 lakh rupees. 20 lakh rupees, and he said, I don't own this money is of this man who's there with me. He is angry of the central party of the Aam Aadmi Party, and there is a case which is going on. And there are similar evidence in Goa now where people have on record said, yes, the money was transferred through Angadi's, and there are bank account details also. Probably you should go through the remand note once thoroughly, and you'll get all the details from the remand note.
Okay. Adil Singh Bopara, yes, you want to make a final observation.
Mr. Sardesai, the BJP in its arrogance is turning the law on its head. This is a very, very dangerous proposition, and the BJP should just realize that the shoe can be on the other foot also. If you use statements of co-accused made during their period of custody, and you use
stop
that,
threatening.
I'm not threatening. RP Singh ji, किथे threaten कर रहे हैं? मेरी जरूरत होनु threaten कर सकता मैं? और मैंने complete करन दो kindly. If you start using statements given by co-accused,
याद करो Chief Justice ने की क्या सी? What is the Chief Justice said?
RP Singh ji, बोलन तो दो मैनू. तुसी क्यों इतने anxious होए हो?
Go ahead, finish.
No immunity can be given to politicians.
If you
Sir,
start,
RP Singh, let him finish 30 seconds.
Why are you getting anxious? Please.
Court जाके case लड़ो,
This is
sir.
not fair. This is not fair.
Yeah, put his voice down. Put his voice down. I give Adil Singh Bopara has been very silent for 30 seconds. Adil, please finish.
Mr. Sardesai, if you start a legal regime where agencies start using draconian powers and use statements made by co-accused persons in police custody as the sole basis to make arrests, I think this is an anathema. I repeat, this is an anathema to personal liberty.
Okay.
And every political party must bear in mind that the shoe can be on the other foot. Let us not use law to the point that it ushers an era of anarchy.
Okay.
This is what BJP is doing.
You made the point, as have the others. I'm going to leave it to the viewers to judge, because remember, this is a sitting Chief Minister who finds himself tonight in judicial custody. The law is equal for all, but the law must be equally applied to all, and that includes those in government and those in opposition. Is the ED doing that role, or is it being weaponized? That's a question that you, the viewers, will have to answer soon. Thank you all very much for joining me. I want to come to my other top story, which comes from Katchatheevu Island. That's right. Few would have heard of it till a few days ago, but now it's all over the news. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar on Monday accused the Congress and the DMK of ceding the island to Sri Lanka, despite having a strong case stretching the argument to 1974, when Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister of the country. The Congress has hit back, saying ahead of the Tamil Nadu elections, the BJP is playing with fire. Take a look.
Political row over Katchatheevu Island escalates. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar on Monday launched a scathing critique of the Congress and DMK, claiming the island was ceded to Sri Lanka during Indira Gandhi's tenure. Jaishankar emphasized India's long-standing historical claims to Katchatheevu and alleged the Congress had dismissed it as an island of little importance.
Whether it was Pandit Nehru or whether it was Indira Gandhi, this very dismissive attitude, this little rock, this small island of no importance, this was the historic Congress attitude towards Katchatheevu.
The controversy erupted after an RTI reply to Tamil Nadu BJP chief Annamalai said that the transfer occurred in 1974. It claimed then Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M. Karunanidhi was informed about the decision. The RTI reply shed light on Prime Minister Nehru's stance on the matter, as he deemed the island of little strategic importance. Prime Minister Narendra Modi cited the RTI response to target the opposition at a rally in Meerut on Sunday.
कांग्रेस ने 4-5 दशक पहले कह दिया कि ये द्वीप तो गैर जरूरी है। ये कांग्रेस के लोगों ने, इंडियन अलायंस के साथियों ने मां भारती का एक अंग काट दिया।
2015. The opposition hit back at the BJP. Shiv Sena UBT MP Priyanka Chaturvedi tweeted an earlier RTI reply by the Modi government in 2015, which stated that the island was neither ceded or acquired.
I'll only go by the RTI statement that was responded to by the Ministry of External Affairs. Neither the Katchatheevu Island has been acquired or ceded by India. So that clearly shows that there has been a shift in stance from 2015 to 2024 by Indian government, and that is unfortunate. Today, Prime Minister is using it for his political narrative, for his political gain to get a few seats in Tamil Nadu.
The Congress and DMK accused the BJP of raking up old issues for political gains.
Why are you raking up something after 50 years? Why are we not talking about what happened in the last 2-3 years?
For the past 10 years, the government is run by the BJP. And Jaishankar is the External Affairs Minister. Had he ever, and our leader had written many letters to him. He himself accepts that he had sent 21 letters to my CM. Has he ever stated that they will go have a talk with the Sri Lankan government and take back Katchatheevu?
Tamil Nadu is crucial for the BJP to meet their target set for the NDA to win 400 Lok Sabha seats. Will the Katchatheevu issue give the BJP the momentum it is looking for in the southern state? Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's try and get an explanation of this issue away from the political noise. Joining me now is Ambassador Ashok Kanta, former Indian High Commissioner of India to Sri Lanka. Appreciate your joining us, Mr. Kanta. As you see this political war taking place over Katchatheevu as a diplomat, what is your sense? Is this a wise thing to have a contentious issue playing out like this years later in the political domain?
I would not like to comment on politics of the issue, but there has been a clear understanding between India and Sri Lanka dating back to 1974. Agreement which was signed on international maritime boundary between two countries, and there was this supplemental agreement in 1976 under which Katchatheevu was put on the Sri Lankan side of international maritime boundary line. And Government of India has maintained that position quite consistently since then under different governments. In fact, when the Government of Tamil Nadu brought up the issue and the matter was taken to Supreme Court, at that time also, in fact, in 2013, if I recall correctly, the Union government maintained that the area was not ceded as such because it was part of an understanding between two countries on a disputed an island. Even later, even in 2022, I recall that there have been statements from our side, from government, saying that Katchatheevu falls on the Sri Lankan side of the international maritime boundary line, but the matter is sub judice. This is where we stand in terms of facts of the case.
Can Can I just stop you for a moment to follow up what you just said, Ambassador Kanta, which was that the MEA's response to an RTI query on Katchatheevu in 2015, where it said that this agreement did not involve either acquiring or ceding a territory belonging to India, since the area in question had never been demarcated. Under the agreements, the island of Katchatheevu lies on the Sri Lankan side of the India-Sri Lanka maritime boundary line. How do you see it in that way? Was land ever ceded, or is that a misnomer?
No, in fact, as I mentioned, Union government in its intervention in the matter before the Supreme Court in 2013 also took that position that there has been no ceding of territory because, as part of a boundary, discussion, demarcation exercise, this area was found to be on the Sri Lankan side. That was the understanding reached between two countries. But, Rajdeep, there's a larger issue involved here that when it comes to Katchatheevu, there has been a consistent position taken by Government of India that we should not reopen the issue. And the agreement also, the two agreements of 1974 and 1976, they do not quite provide for reopening of international maritime boundary line agreed upon between two countries. Besides, there have been other cases as well where we have taken certain positions, for instance, with regard to IMBL with Bangladesh. You are aware of Permanent Court arbitration giving certain award in July 2015, which largely went in favor of Bangladesh, and we accepted that award, even though later in 2016, China did not accept the Permanent Court arbitration award when the Philippines took the matter related to South China Sea to that platform. Likewise, when it comes to land boundary with Bangladesh, you're aware that we agreed on exchange of enclaves, even though in terms of number of enclaves and area involved, this to some extent favored Bangladesh. I think these are positions we take as part of negotiations, and by and large, we maintained continuity in position of Government of India, even if there is a change in government. For instance, Mr. Vajpayee, when the agreement was signed in 1974, he took a very strong position in Parliament in opposition to the agreement. But when he was Prime Minister, I don't recall his government reopening the issue at that point of time.
Am I right, therefore, you're saying don't reopen the issue? Are you saying let's not reopen it, let sleeping dogs lie in a way?
Yes, as far as the boundary is concerned, or international maritime boundary line is concerned, we should not be reopening the issue. But there are some practical questions which can be discussed with Sri Lanka in a friendly manner. For instance, fishing rights in areas in proximity of Katchatheevu. That is possible, and that scope is available within existing agreements as well.
So you're saying, in conclusion, focus on the human rights of fishermen, for example, who are operating in that area, their concerns, without necessarily having to now rake it up with Sri Lanka and redraw the boundary dispute and rewind the clock. Am I correct?
Exactly. We have always maintained that humanitarian aspects of fishermen's dispute must always be given precedence and priority. And so that has been our position all along.
Okay. Let me leave it there, Ambassador Kanta. I appreciate you joining me here on the news today. Thank you so much. Let's take a break. When we return, we'll turn to the other key political stories from across the nation. You're watching the news today. News without the noise. Welcome back. Let's take a look at some of the other key political stories that are making the headlines in this election season. Lalu Prasad Yadav and Rabri Devi's eldest daughter Rohini Acharya will contest the upcoming Lok Sabha polls from Bihar's Saran seat. BJP has fielded Rajiv Pratap Rudy from Saran. Rohini is expected to start her campaign there from tomorrow. National Vice President of the RLD party, Shahid Siddiqui, has tendered his resignation from his position after RLD joined hands with the BJP for the Lok Sabha polls. In his resignation letter, he acknowledged his long-standing association with Jayant Chaudhary. The Election Commission of India has strongly censured BJP MP Dilip Ghosh and Congress social media and digital platform chairperson Supriya Shrinate for their statements. Ghosh has made derogatory remarks on Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. Shrinate had made vulgar comments on Kangana Ranaut. The BJP candidate from Mandi seat in Himachal Pradesh, Kangana Ranaut, offered prayers at the Bhimkali temple. She also prepared tea at a Namos tea stall and served it to the people gathered. Kangana was accompanied by Himachal Pradesh leader of the opposition, Jairam Thakur. And ahead of the crucial Lok Sabha polls, the BJD's sitting MP from Kendrapada, Anubhav Mohanty, joined the BJP. Mohanty had defeated the BJP's Jai Panda in the last Lok Sabha polls. Just a quick update. We'll have all the headlines and all the election news for you at 10:30 p.m. with analysis on Election Unlocked. That's it that we could pack in on the news today. Thanks for watching. Stay well, stay safe. Jai Hind. Namaskar.
Once again, India Today wins the best news channel of the year.
Thank you, ENBA, for all of these awards, all 108 of them. But for us viewers, the greatest reward and award is your trust. We're just weeks away from a high-powered, high-pressure elections, and I know that your trust will carry us through. Thank you.
NBA Awards में हम हैं 400 पार.
Both. You see, it's not mandatory. It's not mandatory that you have to arrest a person, right? So when you arrest a person, okay, the law says that he has to, prove his innocence. All right, that's a draconian aspect. That's a question of reverse onus. All right, which is draconian.
Make your media plans smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
But here the onus is
Amplify
reversed.
your brand with
That's
100 million
aspect.
smart internet
The
viewers.
second
To
aspect
advertise,
is
mail
the
us at
procedure.
sales@aajtak.com.
Why are you arresting him? I mean, are you arresting him because you have the power to arrest? If that is, the explanation, then I'm sorry, it can't be like that.
But may I say, Justice Lokur, that it is the Supreme Court itself which in July 2022 ratified many of these very provisions of the PMLA that have virtually given the Enforcement Directorate the kind of power that they can go ahead and do these summary arrests, some on mere suspicion, some would say, but with reasonable belief. So in a way, and that judgment has not been reviewed till date, even though Supreme Court has said it will review it. We are now in 2024 and the bench has not even met to review that critical judgment on PMLA.
Yeah, you see, Rajdeep, mere suspicion is not good enough. The law says that the arresting authority, that is the deputy director or whoever it is, must have reason to believe that the person has committed an offence. right?
बड़े-बड़े
And the
नेता हैं।
expression reason to believe is justiciable. So it's not just suspicion. Suspicion is not reason to believe.
ऐसी माहौल हो गया
There
है
has to be
भारतीय जनता
something
पार्टी में,
much
जहाँ
more
जानते हैं दिल्ली में तो
on the
ये लोग
basis of which
सीट्स
you are
नहीं जीत
arresting a
पाएंगे
person.
और ईडी
So in that sense, it has been weaponized.
उनको
The
जो
law has been
हिरासत में रखा
weaponized.
जा रहा है दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण
Where
है
you
और
just
फिर
say
से
that, well,
दिखाता
you
है
know,
कि
I
विपक्ष को
suspect
लेकर
that you've done
भारतीय
some,
जनता पार्टी
offense. So therefore, I'm arresting you.
But that's
It's not like that.
Sir, but the word reason to believe under Section 19 of the PMLA, which allows the Enforcement Directorate to arrest someone because they have reason to believe that he has committed the crime of money laundering with a very wide range of predicated offences. Do you believe that given the nature of these words, we need greater clarity? And this must come from the Supreme Court itself. Otherwise, this phrase will be misused to arbitrarily arrest people in different cases.
Yes, it is. We do need clarity. You see, the expression reason to believe is not a new expression, right? It's there in the Income Tax Act, and you will find 100 judgments on what is the meaning of reason to believe. It is not subjective.
Delhi Chief Minister
Right, it is
Arvind
objective.
Kejriwal is jailed.
So when the
A Delhi court on
authority
Monday
says
sent
that
him
I
to
have
14-day
reason to
judicial
believe,
custody in the liquor
it has to
policy
be an
case.
objective reason to believe,
The Enforcement
which has to be
Directorate
put
produced
down in
Kejriwal in the
writing.
Rouse Avenue Court, presided by
Okay.
Special Judge
Now,
Kaveri Baveja
that reason to
after
believe,
his custody ended.
if it's a sort of a make-believe kind of
Kejriwal
reason,
was sent to Tihar jail
the
after
expression
the ED
reason to
sought judicial
believe,
remand.
the reasons are justiciable.
In its application to
Under the
court,
income tax
the
law,
ED alleged that Kejriwal had
reason
provided false
to
and
believe has
contradictory
been
evidence during
challenged,
their inquiry.
and
ED claimed
assessees have
Kejriwal had
succeeded.
evaded questions
but
and had
showing that there
refused
is
to
no reason to
disclose
believe.
passwords to his digital
Sir, let
devices.
me make the most direct
Furthermore, he
question now.
allegedly labelled his
Is
own
in
party
your view,
leaders
as a retired
confused.
Supreme Court judge, the
Kejriwal
Enforcement
claimed that accused
Directorate being
Vijay Nair
misused
reported to
through the
Archie and
PMLA
Saurabh Bharadwaj
to settle
and asserted
scores
that
by
his
the government of
interaction
the
with
day
Nair
with
was
political
limited.
opponents? That's the fear that the opposition expresses. The government says you're looking at only a fraction of the cases being prosecuted by the ED. There are a number of cases which involve businessmen,
Ahead of
where
his
their
court
assets
appearance,
are being
Kejriwal had
seized. Why only
criticised the
focus
Prime
on
Minister's
politicians?
actions.
So do you see the ED being misused to
Sunita
target
Kejriwal,
political
Chief Minister's
opponents of
wife,
the government
accused
like
the
Mr.
BJP
Kejriwal?
government of seeking to incarcerate the AAP
It appears to be
during
so.
elections.
It appears to be so. There are circumstances on the basis
The
of which it
BJP
appears
rejected the AAP
that
charge,
only
accusing Kejriwal
persons,
of
only
playing
some
victim
persons
card.
are being targeted.
That's a very serious charge you're
Meanwhile,
making, but
Kejriwal
what
has
then for
made
you is the
specific
solution,
requests for his
Justice
stay in
Lokur? Because
Tihar jail.
if that is as
He has sought
is
permission
the
to
case,
take many
the
books,
Enforcement Directorate
including
and
the
its powers are being
Bhagavad Gita,
weaponized.
Ramayana
What is
and
the
Mahabharata.
solution to
He
ensure that there is
also
no
wants access
miscarriage
to
of
necessary
justice
medicines
and an
and a
individual's
special
personal
diet.
liberty is not
Kejriwal
compromised
has
when he's sent
requested
to
a
jail?
table and a chair to facilitate his work
Well,
and
one
personal
is, I think,
activities.
the Enforcement Directorate
Several
would have
Aam
to be
Aadmi
reined
Party
in.
leaders, including Sanjay
Right?
Singh,
You
Manish
cannot weaponize
Sisodia,
a
and
law
Satyendra
just
Jain
because the
are
law is
already in
there.
Tihar in separate cells.
Second, I think
With
the
Kejriwal
courts have to
also
be
sent to
far
jail,
more
AAP
vigilant
is facing an uphill
that the
battle
procedures
to
that are
salvage its
there
political
in the law
fortunes in
are being
2024
followed.
elections.
Okay.
With Munish Pandey,
Now,
Shreya
once
Chatterjee
that
and
is
Shrishti
done,
Ojha in Delhi,
you know,
Bureau
this
Report,
thing in the
India
law
Today.
will probably disappear. It appears to me that the courts are not following fully the procedure that is there in the law, or not demanding from the ED that you follow the procedure.
But sir, in the Arvind Kejriwal case, the ED is arguing that they believe he's the mastermind. He's the chief minister of a state, so he is in a position to tamper with evidence. That has been their argument.
बैंक ऑफ बड़ौदा
in court.
हमेशा आपके लिए.
Okay. Now, the Supreme Court has also said that since you believe that a person is going to tamper with the evidence or the person is likely to influence the witnesses, it's not good enough.
Haunted and hunted
On
by
what
liquor
basis are you saying that you believe that this is going to happen? I mean, anybody can tamper with
Delhi
evidence.
Chief
Anybody
Minister
can
in
tamper
jail
with
till
witnesses.
April 15th.
Right? So merely making that allegation is not good enough. You have to
Top
have
four
some
AAP
basis for
netas
coming
now
to the
lodged
conclusion
in Tihar.
that this person has attempted or has in fact tampered
From
with
corridors
the evidence.
of power to
Justice
behind
Lokur, there is
bars.
also talk of vicarious liability in this case. where the Aam Aadmi Party as a political organization,
from ground
according
zero.
to the ED, could be held liable and could be accused in a charge sheet. Do you see that again as a potential access to virtually cut a political party out of our system by charging them under the
legal
PMLA?
counsel's approach, asking why can't he run the
No,
government?
I don't think so. This kind of vicarious liability in criminal law,
possible?
Top focus in a situation like
on
this,
India first.
I don't buy it.
So there is no you're saying you don't buy vicarious
Hello and
liability in
welcome to the
conclusion with
special
the possibility,
telecast.
sir,
I'm
that
Pooja Shali.
Mr.
A
Kejriwal
historic
could now
day as a
spend an
sitting Chief
extended
Minister
period in
sent to
jail. May I
Tihar
ask
prison
you,
on money
do you
laundering
believe that a
charges.
government
And
can
that's
be
Delhi
run
Chief
out of
Minister
jail?
Arvind Kejriwal,
Or
who's
will the
also
courts
Aam
have
Aadmi
to now
Party's national
intervene and
convener.
set some
In the
guidelines in
afternoon,
your
when the
view?
Rouse Avenue Court decided to pass its order, it was after the Enforcement Directorate had also
I
claimed
think
that
constitutional
Arvind
morality
Kejriwal is not
requires
cooperating with the
that,
investigation
Mr. Kejriwal
of money
should
laundering
quit.
and corruption
That's
charges
constitutional
in the
morality.
Delhi liquor excise policy
But-
scam. But the ED
Well,
also
if he
claimed
chooses,
that Arvind Kejriwal informed
I
them
don't care
that
about constitutional
Vijay
morality.
Nair,
I'm going
who's
to
one
run
of the
the
main
government.
accused in the
There's
case,
nothing to stop
was
him.
not reporting to Kejriwal.
You know,
He
I
was
mean,
instead
so many
reporting
people are
to
violating,
Atishi and Saurabh
constitutional
Bhardwaj, the
morality.
other two
Governors have been
ministers
accused of
currently out
violating
and are taking
constitutional
care
morality.
of the government. What
So
does
if
this
he
mean?
says, I'm going to
This
violate
and
it,
more
so
in
what?
the next half an
But do
hour.
you believe
Take a
at
look
least that
at this special report.
expeditiously, at the very earliest, there should be a judicial review, sir, of the PMLA judgment that is
Delhi
hanging
Chief
fire
Minister Arvind
since July
Kejriwal is
2022?
jailed.
You will recall, sir, in
A Delhi
September
court on
last year,
Monday
certain
sent him to
political
14-day
parties went
judicial
to court,
custody
opposition
in the
parties,
liquor
and said, give us
policy case.
protection against the
The
misuse of the law.
Enforcement
Court
Directorate
said we can't
produced
treat
Kejriwal
political
in the
parties
Rouse
separate to
Avenue Court,
individual citizens.
presided
Do you
by
believe there should be a
Special Judge
review of the
Kaveri
law
Baweja
that will
after his
protect not just
custody ended.
politicians, but every citizen will be
Kejriwal was
ensured
sent to
that his
Tihar
or her
jail
civil
after the
liberties are
ED sought
protected
judicial
and the
remand.
PMLA is not misused.
In its application to
Yes,
court,
I
the
think it
ED
should be done
alleged that
immediately. The
Kejriwal
review
had
should be done
provided false
immediately.
and contradictory
The
evidence
whole
during their
issue has to be
inquiry.
looked at in the
ED claimed Kejriwal had evaded
perspective of the
questions and had
Constitution,
refused
also
to disclose passwords
the right
to his
to
digital
silence.
devices.
That's a
Furthermore,
very,
he
very
allegedly
important
labelled
right,
his own party leaders
which
as
is
confused.
not being
Kejriwal
enforced in the
claimed that
sense
accused
that
Vijay
the
Nair
directorate
reported
keeps
to
saying
Atishi
not
and Saurabh
cooperative.
Bhardwaj
You
and
don't expect
asserted
an
that his
accused person to
interaction with
cooperate.
Nair was limited.
You know, what are you two there for?
Taken your name in case of the first
Chief
time.
Minister
I think the
Atishi
whole
evaded
thing has to be
questions
looked at
on
all over
Kejriwal's
again.
claims.
Can I though put you on the line, Justice, and say, if you were in the judge's
अरविंद
place now,
केजरीवाल
would you
जी
give Mr.
राजनीति में
Kejriwal
किसी को
bail
सामने
based
नहीं
on
आने
the facts
देते
that are
अब वो
available
आतिशी
before
जी
us
को और
in the
सौरभ
public
भारद्वाज को
domain?
फंसाने जा रहे हैं क्योंकि वो जानते हैं अगर वो
On the
बाहर
facts
रहेंगे
that are
वो
available
मुख्यमंत्री
in
बन
the
जाएंगे
public
अरविंद
domain.
केजरीवाल जेल में रह जाएंगे
Yes, I think a
Ahead
strong
of his
case has
court
been made
appearance,
out of the way.
Kejriwal had criticized
Yes.
the Prime Minister's actions.
अरविंद जी पूरा इंडिया गठबंधन के लिए जुटा मामले में था क्या कहेंगे?
But let me be clear about one thing. There might be something more which we don't know.
Sunita Kejriwal, the Chief
Right.
Minister's wife,
But from
accused
the
the
facts which
BJP
are available in
government
the public
of
domain,
seeking to
I think it deserves
incarcerate the
to.
AAP chief during elections.
Okay, Justice Lokur, for answering all my questions and answering them so candidly. Thank you very much for joining me here on the news today. In a way, he has set the stage. Justice Lokur saying this is a case of bail, not jail, calling for a review of the PMLA, saying constitutional morality requires Kejriwal to resign, but he's not obligated to do that.
The
Lots of
BJP
points
rejected the
raised.
AAP
Let's
charge,
raise big questions
accusing
to our political
Kejriwal of
guests
playing
now.
victim
Is
card.
Kejriwal being taken out of the Lok Sabha
Those who
campaign
try
as
to
his
portray
supporters allege? Can
bogey of
Kejriwal really
victimhood?
function effectively from jail?
I would like
as
to
the PMLA
underline
being weaponized
that
to
today's
target political
judgment of the
rivals
court
government?
is based on
Another
the
question
concrete
that I will raise,
evidences.
Adil
Now
Singh
it
Bopara is
raises
Congress
certain
spokesperson and lawyer.
moral and
RP
constitutional
Singh is
questions.
BJP
This is the dictatorship
spokesperson.
of Mr.
Priyanka
Modi.
Thakkar is from the Aam Aadmi Party.
2,715
Appreciate
crores.
all of you joining us.
BJP
RP Singh, you might have
extorted
heard
from
that
industrialists
Justice Madan
using
Lokur
ED.
saying, based on the facts
Meanwhile,
of the case as
Kejriwal
they are
has
available
made
in the public
specific
domain,
requests for his
he
stay
thinks
in
this was a
Tihar
case
jail.
for bail,
He has sought
not
permission
jail.
to
What
take
was the
many books,
necessity for arrest,
including the Bhagavad
particularly
Gita,
so many months
Ramayana
after
and
the
Mahabharata.
original case
He also
was
wants access to
prosecuted.
necessary medicines and a special diet. Kejriwal has requested a table and a chair to
Rajdeep,
facilitate his
evening.
work and personal
You
activities.
just mentioned friend from Congress
Several Aam
party,
Aadmi
the
Party
lawyer,
leaders,
Adil
including
Gupta,
Sanjay
very lawyer. You
Singh,
didn't
Manish
mention Priyanka
Sisodia
Khattar is also
and
a lawyer.
Satyendra
And
Jain are
you also,
already in Tihar in separate
trying to
cells.
defend the Aam Aadmi
With
Party,
Kejriwal
Justice
also
Lugar,
sent to
you can
jail,
plead the case with
AAP is
Justice
facing an
Lugar,
uphill
and
battle
as
to
it was
salvage
as a
its political
court room
fortunes
happening,
in
and in a court you were
2024
trying to defend
elections.
the Aam Aadmi Party.
With Munish
No, so
Pandey,
that's
Shreya
unfair,
Chatterjee and
unfair.
Shrishti
I
Ojha
ask
in Delhi.
question. My job is to
Bureau
So
Report,
let's not be
India
unfair
Today.
either to Justice Justice Lokur or to me. Let's
In the
not again
ED
make it
lockup, the
personal.
Aam Aadmi
I asked
Party
you a
had
question.
claimed that the
I
Health
expect
Department
the
and Water
dignity of a
Department files
decent answer.
was signed
I
and
said
decisions
you
were
believe on
approved
the
by
basis
Chief
as
Minister
Justice
Arvind
Lokur said,
Kejriwal.
this
But
was a
can you do
case
the
for
same
bail,
here
not
at
jail.
the Tihar prison?
How do you respond?
Because according to right now our sources telling us within the Tihar that he cannot continue to function as a chief minister,
Rajdeep,
cannot be
please
signing
don't
files
push me
officially. But the
to-
Aam Aadmi Party says he's
let
not
me answer
stepping
what I have
down.
to say.
Nobody
you have
else
your
is going
point
to
of
take
view.
over as the
don't
chief
like to
minister.
take it
Then what
personal.
happens
Your
to the
viewers-
Aam
let
Aadmi
viewers judge
Party
it.
and
I mean, you
importantly
know
what
what-
happens here
let
on
your viewers judge it.
Delhi's
You let the
governance, the union territory and
But the
specifically
big
the four of
story
the
that
files
we are breaking
that have
this
to be
evening,
cleared
Arvind
by the Delhi
Kejriwal
chief
will
minister.
spend his first night now in Tihar jail.
The Delhi
He's
Chief
been
Minister
lodged
sent to
in
judicial
jail
custody
number
till
2.
April 15.
Kejriwal is to sleep on a slab of cement. 24/7 CCTV surveillance of Kejriwal's barracks. Sources saying 6 visitors, including his wife Sunita,
The political
will be
row
allowed
over
to meet
his arrest in
Kejriwal. All
connection
this
with the
coming on a
alleged
day
Delhi liquor
when,
scam
he was sent
intensifies.
to judicial custody.
Can any government
for
run from
15
behind the
days
bars?
till
The whole idea of a
April
government is it has
15.
to
The
run
Delhi
according
court
to
remanding him
established
there. The ED
norms.
in its application
I mean, here is a
interestingly
government which
claiming
has
that Kejriwal was
one
evasive
minister, two,
during
three ministers already
interrogation.
behind bars.
Kejriwal supporters are
So they
claiming
can have
that this is
actually,
all
they have
a
a
plot
quorum, they can have a
by the
cabinet
Modi
meeting inside
government
bars.
to prevent the Aam
The
Aadmi
burning
Party leader
question
and
on
Delhi Chief
everyone's
Minister
mind,
from
how
contest
feasible
from being
is it for a
allowed
chief
to
minister
campaign
to govern
in the
while
Lok
in
Sabha
jail?
polls. Take a look at
Sunil
tonight's
Kumar
detailed
Gupta, a
report.
former superintendent of Tihar prisons in New Delhi, sheds light on the challenges Arvind Kejriwal might encounter
Delhi
in
Chief
fulfilling his
Minister
official
Arvind
duties
Kejriwal
while
is
in custody.
A Delhi court on Monday
The
sent him
Lieutenant
to
Governor of
14-day
Delhi is
judicial
authorized to
custody in a
designate a
liquor
facility
policy
with
case.
appropriate amenities
The
as a prison
enforcement
for
director
special
produced
cases.
Kejriwal in the Rouse Avenue court,
However,
presided by
if this
Special
isn't
Judge
done in
Kaveri
Kejriwal's
Baweja
case, the
after his
existing
custody
restrictions
ended.
outlined in the jail manual could
Kejriwal was
severely
sent to
impede the
Tihar jail
CM's ability
after
to
the
govern
ED
from
sought
within
judicial
prison.
remand.
सीएम
In its
सिर्फ चलाना
application to
चाहें
court, the
वो
ED
मेरे हिसाब से
alleged that
मुश्किल होगा
Kejriwal
क्योंकि
had
अगर
provided
रूल्स आप
false
फॉलो
and
करते हैं
contradictory evidence
तो उस
during their
रूल्स में है कि
inquiry.
एक प्रिजनर कोई
ED
भी
claimed
अंडर डेथ
Kejriwal had
प्रिजनर है
evaded
वो 2
questions
मुलाकातें कर
and had
सकता है अपने
refused
घर
to
वालों से
disclose passwords to
फिर
his
उस कोई
digital
भी कागज वो
devices.
साइन करता है तो वो
Furthermore, he
अंडर
allegedly
द
labeled his
सुपरविजन ऑफ
own party
सुपरिटेंडेंट
leaders
जेल
as
वो
confused.
साइन करता है
Kejriwal claimed that accused Vijay Nair
Moreover, the prison
reported to
authorities
Atishi
are
and Saurabh
responsible for
Bharadwaj
scheduling
and
visitor
asserted that his
meetings.
interaction with
Inmates
Nair
are
was
allowed
limited.
to list 10 individuals they wish to meet during their
Delhi Minister
confinement.
Atishi evaded
Meetings
questions
are arranged
on
via
Kejriwal's
phone
claims.
with only 3 visitors permitted at a time.
अरविंद केजरीवाल
Nevertheless,
जी
legal
राजनीति
experts
में
argue
किसी को
that an
सामने नहीं आने
elected chief
देते।
minister
अब वो
isn't
आतिशी जी को
constitutionally
और सौरभ
barred
भारद्वाज
from
को फंसाने
carrying
जा
out
रहे
their
हैं,
duties
क्योंकि वो
while in
जानते हैं
jail.
अगर वो बाहर रहेंगे वो
Because a
मुख्यमंत्री
man
बन जाएंगे
is in jail.
अरविंद केजरीवाल जेल में रहेंगे।
If there are
Ahead of
certain
his court
functions
appearance,
which
Kejriwal had
can be
criticized the
done
Prime
or
Minister's actions.
need his attention.
अरविंद जी पूरा
Always
इंडिया
open
गठबंधन कल आपके लिए
to
जुटा
the
रामलीला मैदान क्या
courts
कहेंगे?
permitted or even the prison authorities. The constitution
Sunita
does
Kejriwal,
not
the
have
chief
a
minister's wife,
disqualification.
accused the BJP government
The
of
decision
seeking
now
to
rests with the
incarcerate
Delhi
the AAP
Lieutenant
chief
Governor
during
to relax
elections.
the restrictions and grant the Chief Minister the necessary facilities to fulfill his official obligations. Bureau Report, India Today.
Arvind Kejriwal's rise has been phenomenal. From an Indian Revenue Service officer, a bureaucrat turning to activism and then turning to politics.
The BJP
then
rejected
winning
the AAP
repeatedly
charge,
as the Delhi Chief
accusing
Minister.
Kejriwal
His
of
rise
playing victim
primarily
card.
has been as a political activist, remember,
Those who
by
try to
expose
portray
of other leaders, specifically
bogey of
then the
victimhood.
Congress Party, and putting
I
forth
would like
his
to
references
underline
of
that
corruption.
today's judgment
Here's
of the court
a journey
is based on the
that has
concrete
been of Arvind
evidences.
Kejriwal
Now it
throughout
raises
different
certain
phases,
moral
and then
and
now,
constitutional questions.
here in
This is the
Tihar as a
dictatorship of
prisoner.
Mr. Modi. 2,715 crores.
This is the house where
BJP
Arvind Kejriwal was
extorted
born in a
from
middle-class
industrialists
family
using
in
ED.
Bhiwani district of Haryana
Meanwhile,
on the
Kejriwal
16th of
has
August
made specific requests for
1968.
his stay in Tihar jail. He has sought permission to take take many books,
His father was
including
an
the
electrical
Bhagavad Gita,
engineer, and his
Ramayana,
work led
and
to many
Mahabharata.
changes in
He
the
also
family's
wants
residence.
access to necessary medicines and a special diet. Kejriwal has requested a table and a chair
Kejriwal
to
spent
facilitate
most of his
his
childhood
work
in
and
North Indian
personal
towns
activities.
such as Sonipat, Ghaziabad and Hisar.
Several Aam Aadmi
This
Party
is the
leaders,
colony where
including
Kejriwal spent more than a
Manish
decade of
Sisodia
his
and Satish
crucial
Jain
formative
are
years
already in
preparing
Tihar
for his
in separate
academics.
cells. With Kejriwal also
कोई हमें पढ़ाई में कोई दिक्कत आती कोई सम सॉल्व नहीं होता था तो उनसे भैया से हम हेल्प लेते थे।
एक तो बच्चा बहुत शुरू से गंभीर था
और
पढ़ाई में ज़्यादा ध्यान रहता था।
जिस तरह से वो सिंसियरिटी के साथ में डेडिकेशन के साथ में कॉलेज में अपना पढ़ाई करते थे, उससे लगता था कि एक दिन
Joining me
विद्यार्थी जो
now
है
is
निश्चित
the
रूप से
first of my special
अपना भी
guests,
अपने परिवार
Justice
का नाम
Madan
रोशन
Loku,
करेगा.
He was one of the
former
brightest
Supreme Court
students.
judge.
Civics was one of his
Joins me
best
at
and
this
most
moment.
favorite subjects.
Appreciate
I still
you are
remember
joining us, Justice
he
Loku. Let's turn to
had
this Arvind
so
Kejriwal
deep
case.
knowledge about this
The
subject.
Delhi liquor policy
After Kejriwal
scam, as
completed
it's
his
been
studies
called,
in
the
mechanical engineering from
investigation
IIT
began in August of
Kharagpur,
2022.
Tata Steel hired him in
Arrests were
1989
made,
to work as a
in
mechanical
September,
engineer in
October.
Jamshedpur.
We are now in April
For
of
the 3 years that he
2024.
worked
Mr.
there, he
Kejriwal
wanted to
has
be
been
part
arrested,
of
sent
the
to 15
social
days
welfare department
judicial
of Tata
custody, and
Steel,
the ED
but
says
he was not
they
allowed.
sent him 8 summons which he
Kejriwal
did not
resigned
appear
from Tata
before
Steel
them.
in
So
1992
he's been arrested.
and decided to prepare
There are
for IAS
approvers there.
exams.
They claim they will have a chain
In
that will link
1995,
Mr.
he
Kejriwal,
cleared
whom
the
they
civil
call a
service exams to
mastermind.
join public
How do you
service.
see this case then?
As an
a
Indian
possible
revenue
excess
service
of
officer,
power,
Kejriwal
abuse
was
of power
troubled by
the
rampant
ED,
corruption in
or,
the income
as
tax
the
department.
ED is claiming, a necessary
In December
step
1999,
to prevent
while
money
still in
laundering
service
and
with the
crack
income
this
tax
case.
department, Kejriwal, Manish Sisodia
Well,
and
you know,
others
I
founded a
think
movement
this
named
is,
Parivartan, a Delhi-based
an
citizens
exercise
movement which
that has been
addressed
taken
grievances related
by
to
the
public
enforcement
distribution
directorate in
system,
excess
public
of,
works,
its
social
powers.
welfare schemes, income
You see,
tax
for
and
example,
electricity.
you
In
say
February
August
2006,
2022,
Arvind
the whole
Kejriwal
thing started,
resigned from his
right?
job to work
So we are
full-time at
almost,
Parivartan.
1.5 years
In July
down the line.
2006, he spearheaded
Now,
an awareness campaign for right to information
Is the
across
enforcement
India.
directorate trying to say that, listen, we've not
Later
been able
that
to
year,
complete
he
the
was given the
investigation
Ramon
in
Magsaysay
1.5
Award for
years.
emergent leadership for
In
his
spite of the
involvement
fact
with Parivartan.
that they've put in Manish
The award
Sisodia
recognized
inside
him
for
for
such a long
activating the right to information
Right?
movement at
So,
the grassroots
what
and
is it
empowering New
that
Delhi's
is
poor
preventing
citizens to
them
fight
from
corruption.
completing the investigation?
In the years
I
that
mean, if
followed,
they have the
he was to
material,
team up with anti-corruption crusader
why
Anna
are they not
Hazare.
in a position to file the charge sheet? Why is it taking them so long?
And the focus of that
to
period
figure
of
out
his
what
public
to
life
do?
was a single point
Right?
demand
And
that
what
a
is the
Lokpal
material
bill be passed by
on the
Parliament.
basis of which they have come to
ये
the
जनता
conclusion,
का
or the
आंदोलन है।
authority has come to the conclusion
जनता
that
ने इस
Mr.
आंदोलन
Kejriwal
में
should be
निर्णय
arrested.
लिया जनता ने
Sir,
इस आंदोलन को दिशा
and
दी
if that material was in existence earlier,
By 2011,
Why
Kejriwal
did they
had
arrest him
zoomed
earlier?
into the
You see,
public
the
glare.
argument the
He became
enforcement
the
directorate
prickly
is
thorn
making,
in the
Justice
side of the
Lokur, is
polity,
they've gone
the
step by
consummate
step.
agitator,
They've arrested
the
various
relentless
individuals
motivator
and
who
have
worked behind the
built a
scenes
chain
as
that
Anna
links the
Hazare went
so-called
on a
southern
much
cartel
publicized
of
fast
distillers
to demand
with the
passage
Delhi
of the Jan
government and
Lokpal bill.
payments paid. They've got approvers in place. And as I said earlier, they've sent
Soon
8
protests
summons to
spread
Mr.
across the
Kejriwal
country.
starting in October 2023.
A series of
So when
demonstrations
there are people
in
who are
different parts of
questioning the
India
timing and saying,
called
why
for the
arrest someone just
establishment of
before an
strong
election?
legislation
The
and
enforcement
enforcement
directorate is turning
against
around and saying,
deep-rooted
look,
corruption.
we've been trying to get summons
In
and
response to
question
the
him 6
campaign,
months
the
ago,
government's
and we've
advisory
carefully
body drafted
crafted
a
this case
Lokpal
step
bill.
by step. None of the
However,
accused
the
have got
UPA
bail,
government
not even
National
Manish
Advisory
Sisodia.
Council's bill was criticized by Kejriwal
Well,
and other
first of all,
activists.
I think
Kejriwal said that it did not
the
have enough
accused should have
power
got
to take action against the
right?
Prime Minister and other
Why are
allegedly
they being
corrupt
kept
office
in jail?
holders and the judiciary.
Okay, that is the
Amid
question
continuing
that has to be
protests,
asked.
the government constituted
All right.
a committee to
Now,
draft a Jan Lokpal bill.
I think the law is fairly well set.
Kejriwal was one of the civil
That if you
society
are going to
representative
tamper with the
members
evidence
of
or
this
you're going to,
committee.
influence
However,
the
he
witnesses and
alleged
so on.
that
Is
India
there
Against
any
Corruption
material
activists had an unequal
that
position in the committee,
Manish Sisodia,
and the
for
government
example,
appointees kept ignoring
is
their
going to tamper
recommendations.
with the evidence or that he's going to influence witnesses?
The UPA
If
government
witnesses have to be
argued that
influenced,
the activists could not be
Arvind
allowed to
Kejriwal could have done
blackmail
that much
the
earlier.
elected representatives through
All right?
protests.
So what is it?
Kejriwal
What is it
retorted
that is
that
compelling the
democratically
enforcement
elected
directorate
representatives could
to
not be allowed to
demand
function like
their
dictators
arrest?
and asked for a
And what
public
is it
debate
that is
on the
compelling the
contentious
courts
issues.
to say that
India
yes,
Against
these
Corruption
people should
activists
continue to
intensified
remain
their
behind
protests, and Anna Hazare organized a
now
hunger strike.
today, for example, it is said
हम
that
लोग
Mr.
ये
Kejriwal
पूरा का पूरा
is
आंदोलन
uncooperative.
व्यवस्था
What do you expect him
परिवर्तन
to
के
do?
लिए चला
What do
रहे
you expect any
हैं
accused
सत्ता
person to do?
परिवर्तन के लिए नहीं
They have a
ये
constitutional
आंदोलन
right to
राजनीतिक
remain
विकल्प
silent.
देने के लिए है
All right. So after you
सत्ता
arrest a
हथियाने के
person,
लिए नहीं है
you can't ask him
बल्कि
to
सत्ता के
confess to
केंद्रीकरण
everything
को खत्म
unless he
करके
wants to.
सारी की सारी सत्ता जनता के हाथ में सौंपने
Justice
के लिए
Lokul,
है
let
ये
me just stop you
आंदोलन
for a moment. You say you are surprised
As the movement
that bail
began
has
to
not
lose
been
steam
granted
over
and they've
slow
all been
progressing
sent to
talks
jail in
with
this
other
case.
political parties,
This is where I come
Arvind
to a
Kejriwal
critical
decided
point that
to
the Prevention of
rejuvenate
Money
it
Laundering
through the
Act, as
political
it is
route.
drafted today, is being seen by many
Towards the end of
legal
2012,
luminaries as a
with
draconian
apolitical
law.
means
It has
seemingly
reversed
taking
the
them
entire
nowhere,
basis
Kejriwal
of
quit the
bail,
fold to join the
not
political
jail. The
mainstream
Supreme Court had
by
said in the
forming
state
the
of
Aam
Rajasthan
Aadmi
case
Party.
way back in 77 that bail
आज
not
इस
jail
मंच
should be
से
the rule. It's now
हम ऐलान करना
effectively been
चाहते
reversed
हैं
in PMLA
कि
to
हाँ
jail
हम अब
not
चुनाव
bail.
लड़के
Does that
दिखाएंगे
make in a sense, is PMLA the problem or is it the enforcement
This action of
directorate
Kejriwal meant
or whoever
that
is
he and
allowing
Anna
the
Hazare
enforcement
had to
directorate
part ways.
weaponize PMLA? This is the
The
problem.
divorce between the two became final when in November 2012, Kejriwal's
You see,
Aam
it's
Aadmi
not
Party
mandatory.
came into
It's not mandatory
existence.
that you have to arrest a person.
हम इस देश की राजनीति
Right?
बदलने के लिए आए हैं
So,
ये राजनीति जो पैसे
when you
की
arrest a person,
अपराध की
okay,
भ्रष्टाचार
the
की
law says
राजनीति
that
हो
he
गई
has
इसको
to,
बदलना चाहते हैं
prove
और
his
2
innocence.
अक्टूबर को जब हमने
Alright,
अनाउंस
that's a
किया था
draconian aspect.
हमने कहा था इन लोगों ने
That's a
हमें
question
मजबूर
of
किया
reverse
राजनीति में आने
onus.
के लिए ये लोग
Alright,
हमें
which is
चैलेंज करते रहे
draconian.
चुनाव लड़के
Because
दिखाओ
the
चुनाव लड़के
normal
दिखाओ अब इनको
presumption
चुनाव
is
लड़के दिखाएंगे
that a person is
और आज
innocent
के बाद
until
हम इन
proved
लोगों को
guilty.
चैन से
But
नहीं
here
बैठने
the
देंगे
onus is reversed. That's one draconian aspect. The second aspect is the procedure.
From the shrill,
Why
oft-quoted
are you
rhetoric of
arresting him?
accusing politicians of corruption,
I mean, are you
Arvind
arresting him
Kejriwal
because
was
you have
now
the
a
power to
political
arrest?
leader himself.
If that is, the explanation, then I'm sorry, it
The
can't
New
be
Born
like that.
Party started
But
its
may I
journey with
say,
street
Justice
protests
Lokur, that it
against
is
the
the
Sheila
Supreme Court
Dixit
itself
government
which in July
for allegedly siding with
2022
private power
ratified many of
distribution
these
companies
very provisions
and against
of the
Salman
PMLA that have
Khurshid for
virtually
alleged
given the
irregularities
enforcement
in his
directorate the
family-run
kind of power that they can
NGO.
go
Within
ahead
months of
and
forming
do
the
these
party,
summary
the Aam Aadmi Party decided to
some on
contest the
mere
Delhi
suspicion,
Legislative
some would
Assembly
say,
election
but with
2013,
reasonable belief.
with
So in a
Kejriwal
way,
contesting
and-
against the incumbent
and
Congress
that
Chief
judgment
Minister Sheila
has not
Dixit.
been reviewed
From day
till
one
date,
of the
even
2013 Delhi
Supreme
election
Court has
campaign,
said it will
the Aam
review
Aadmi
it.
Party
We are now in
changed the trajectory of the
2024, and
capital's
the bench
war.
has not even met to review that critical judgment on PMLA.
It was no longer a bipartite
Yeah, you
domination
see,
between the Congress and the
Rajdeep,
BJP.
mere
There
suspicion
emerged
is
a
not
third
good enough.
option, a strong
The law
people's
says
favorite,
that
the Aam Aadmi
arresting
Party.
authority, that is the deputy director or whoever it is, must have reason to believe
It was in December
that the person has
2013
committed an
that the
offence.
sweeping broom of democracy
Right?
made its
And the
presence felt
expression
in the Delhi
reason to
Assembly
believe
election.
is
And Arvind
justiciable.
Kejriwal proved his detractors
So it's
wrong.
not just suspicion. Suspicion is not reason to believe. There has to be something much more on the basis of which you are arresting
Kejriwal
a person.
defeated Sheila Dixit, who had
So
been
in
Chief
that
Minister
sense,
of
it
Delhi
has
for
been
3
weaponized.
successive
The law has been
terms
weaponized.
and became the youngest
Where
Chief
you
Minister
just say
of
that,
India.
well, I suspect that you've done
Ironically,
some,
it was with outside
offense,
support from the
so therefore
Congress
I'm
that
arresting you.
Kejriwal was sworn in
But that's
as the
it's-
Chief
it's
Minister
not
of
like
Delhi
that.
on the 28th
Sir, but the
of December
word reason
2013.
to believe under Section 19 of the PMLA, which allows the enforcement
More drama was to
directorate to
follow.
arrest someone
Events that would
because they have
severely
reason to
test
believe that he
Kejriwal's
has
staying power
committed
in
the crime
politics.
of money laundering
His
with a
leadership
very
would be
wide
questioned
range of
and his
predicated
relevance
offences.
debated.
Do you believe that given the nature
For
of
49
these words,
days,
we
Delhi
need
witnessed
greater
what the rule of
clarity,
the Aam Aadmi meant.
and this must come from
Starting
the
a
Supreme
public
Court
debate on
itself.
what accommodation
Otherwise, this
befits
phrase
an Aam
will be
Aadmi Chief
misused
Minister
to arbitrarily
to no
arrest
red
people
beacon car
in
at
different
assembly
cases.
parkings. It was a novelty for the common people
Yes,
of
it
Delhi
is.
to see their
We
government
do need
tackle
clarity. You
issues
see, the
that had not
expression
much
reason
to
to
do with
believe
governance.
is not a new
Kejriwal's form of
expression,
governance seemed
right?
to be literally
It's there in
happening
the
on the
Income Tax
streets
Act,
of the city.
and you will find 100 judgments on what is the meaning of
The Chief
reason
Minister
to
of
believe.
Delhi became the biggest
It is not
agitator on the
subjective.
streets, and his tug of war
Alright,
for
it is
authority with the
objective.
central government brought
So
Delhi
when
to a standstill.
the authority says
In the
that
newly
I have
formed
reason to
assembly,
believe,
the decibel kept
it
rising.
has to be an
The
objective
BJP
reason
as the
to believe,
opposition labelled
which
the
has to
Chief
be put
Minister
down
an
in
anarchist.
writing.
Delhi election 2013 had
Now,
bolstered Arvind
that
Kejriwal's
reason to
political
believe
ambitions.
if
With
it's
28
a sort
seats
of a make-believe
and support
kind
from
of
his
reason,
once arch-rival the Congress,
the expression reason
Kejriwal
to
decided
believe,
to table the Jan
the
Lokpal bill in
reasons
the
are
Delhi Assembly.
justiciable.
But on
Under the income
Valentine's Day
tax
of
law,
2014, Kejriwal's love
reason to
affair with the
believe
Delhi
has
Chief
been
Minister's
challenged,
chair ended,
and
a mere
assessees
49
have
days
succeeded.
after it began.
But may
With
I-
strong
there is no
opposition
reason
from
to
both the BJP and the
Sir,
Congress,
let me make the
Kejriwal
most
failed
direct
to
question
table the
now.
Jan Lokpal
Is
bill
in your
and
view,
in
as a retired
retaliation
Supreme Court
recommended
judge,
the dissolution
enforcement
of the
directorate
assembly.
being misused through the PMLA to settle scores by the government of the day with political opponents? That's the fear that the opposition expresses. The government says you're looking at only a fraction of the cases being prosecuted by the ED. There are a number of cases which involve businessmen where their assets are being seized. Why only focus on politicians? So do you see the ED being misused to target political opponents of the government like Mr. Kejriwal?
The angry young man of Indian politics reached out beyond the walls of Delhi to make an unsuccessful bid at national politics, only to fall flat on his face. He soon realized his strength was the capital voter, and the foundation for his future rise starts from the Delhi Darbar. The biggest challenge this time around was the BJP and their larger-than-life icon, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In the initial days of campaigning, the people of Delhi were faced with the choice of Kejriwal, the Chief Minister, who ran away in 49 days, and a Modi-type government by the BJP. But then the BJP propped up Kejriwal's old comrade, Kiran Bedi, as the BJP's Chief Ministerial choice, and the tide began to turn.
That the procedures that are there in the law
Kejriwal campaigned not for the Jan Lokpal, but for Bijli, Sadak and Pani.
Now,
and Delhi came out in hordes to vote him back to power. The Aam Aadmi Party wiped out the Congress from the state and reduced the BJP to a mere 3 seats.
Arvind Kejriwal, ईश्वर की
following
शपथ लेता हूं
fully
ईश्वर की
the
शपथ लेता
procedure
हूं
that is there in the law.
In his second term as Delhi Chief Minister, he started to turn into an astute politician from an activist turned political leader. Soon after the Aam Aadmi Party thundered back to power with its massive mandate, the tug of war between Kejriwal and Najib Jung started building up. Kejriwal kept blaming the Lieutenant Governor for every administration and policy failure,
Now, the
be
Supreme
it the
Court has
strike
also
of
said
administrative officers
that
before the
since
odd
you
even scheme
believe that
or
a
the
person is
CBI
going to
raid
tamper
on his
with the
office.
evidence, or the person is likely
Jung
to
in turn
influence the
left
witnesses,
no
is
stone
not good
unturned
enough.
in making the first term of the Aam
On
Aadmi
what
Party in
basis are
Delhi
you saying
difficult.
that you
After 2
believe
long
that this is
years
going
of
to
this
happen?
tug of war, the saga of
anybody
a
can
power
tamper
tussle
with
between the
evidence,
Aam
anybody
Aadmi
can
Party
tamper
and
with
Lieutenant
witnesses.
Governor finally ended when Najib
Right,
Jung
so
suddenly
merely making
resigned
that allegation
in
is
December
not good enough.
2016.
You have to have some basis
For a
coming to
political
the
party that
conclusion
started off its
that this
legislative
person
history with such a bang,
has
the
attempted
ensuing years have
or
been a
has,
downward
in fact,
slide on the graph.
tampered with the evidence.
But Justice
Squandering
Lokur,
away
there is
the
also
goodwill it had
talk of
earned in its
vicarious
initial days,
liability
the
in this
vicious
case,
infighting
where the
and
Aam
often
Aadmi
very
Party as
public
a
differences
political
surfaced within the
organization,
party leadership
according
soon
to
after.
the ED, could be held liable and could be accused in a charge sheet. Do you see that again as a
The Arvind
potential access
Kejriwal-led
to
Delhi
virtually
government tried to
cut a
whitewash
political
its public
party out
image
of our system
with
by
lavish
charging
spending
them
on
under the
advertisements.
PMLA?
By March 2017, the newly appointed Lieutenant Governor Bejal
this kind of
directed
vicarious
the Aam
liability
Aadmi Party
criminal law,
government to cough up 97
in a
crore
situation
rupees
like
of public
this,
money that the Kejriwal
I don't
government
buy it.
spent on
So
advertisements,
there is no you're
violating
saying you
Supreme
don't
Court
buy
guidelines.
vicarious liability in conclusion
One
with
after
the
another,
possibility, sir,
defamation
that
cases
Mr.
started to pile
Kejriwal
up
could now
against
spend an
Kejriwal and his
extended
party.
period in jail.
So
May I
much
ask
so
you,
that by May
do you believe that a
2017,
government can
Chief
be
Minister
run out of
Kejriwal
jail?
had 8
Or will the
defamation
courts have
cases
to now
against him.
intervene and set some guidelines in your view?
In 2018, the ugly face-off
Well,
between the Aam Aadmi Party and the
I
bureaucracy
think
in
constitutional
the national
morality
capital
requires
held the city-state
that
to
Mr.
ransom.
Kejriwal should quit.
Kejriwal approached
That's
then
constitutional
Lieutenant
morality.
Governor of Delhi, Anil Bejal,
But-
and sought his intervention.
Well, if he chooses,
the tumultuous second term led to an
I
improved
don't care
public
about
health
constitutional
system
morality.
with
I'm going to
mohalla
run the
clinics
government.
and a
There's nothing to stop him.
reinvention of Delhi schools run by municipal
I mean,
corporations.
so many people are violating constitutional morality. Governors have been accused of
And
violating
despite the massive
constitutional
Modi
morality.
wave and
So if he says,
degenerating
"I'm going to
party
violate it,"
democracy,
so what?
Arvind
But do you believe
Kejriwal
at least
became the
that
Chief Minister once
expeditiously
again
at the
in
very
2020,
earliest there should be a
right
judicial
before the
review, sir,
world
of
was
the
hit
PMLA
by the
judgment
COVID
that is
pandemic.
hanging fire since
He
July
was now the
2022.
satrap of Delhi,
You will
with
recall, sir, in
aspirations to
September
spread his
last year,
wings
certain political
beyond the
parties
Yamuna.
went to court, opposition parties, and said, give us protection
So that was our
against the
special
misuse
ground
of the law.
telecast.
Court said we
After
can't
the
treat
15th of
political
April,
parties
it
separate
will
to
be
individual
the
citizens.
decisions on
Do
the
you
turn
believe
of
there should be
events
a
that
review
could
of the
decide
law
not
that
only
will
the
protect
political
not just
future of
politicians,
Arvind
but
Kejriwal
every
and Aam Aadmi
citizen
Party,
will be ensured
but
that his
about
or her
national
civil
politics
liberties are
as well.
protected and the
Stay
PMLA
tuned.
is not
I'm
misused.
signing off with Sanjeev Kumar and my whole team.
Yes,
Thank
I
you
think
so
it
much
should
for
be done
watching.
immediately. The
Coming
review
up
should be
next,
done immediately.
Elections Unlocked with
The whole
Rajdeep
issue has to
Sardesai
be
and
looked
more
at
news on the other side.
the perspective of the Constitution also. The right to silence. That's a very, very important right, which is not being enforced in the sense that the directorate keeps saying not cooperative. You don't expect an accused person to cooperate. What are you there for?
With the team that
Can
wins
I-
every
So I
election
think the whole thing has to be looked at all
from
over again.
unmatched
Can I though
on-ground
put you on the
reporting.
line, Justice, and say, if you were
To
in the judge's
real-time
place
poll
now,
updates.
would you give Mr. Kejriwal bail
Stay
based on
tuned
the
to the
facts that are
Maximum channel
available before
for
us
the
in the
maximum
public
coverage.
domain?
on the facts that are available in the public domain,
Platinum partner.
Yes, I think a
Signature
strong case has
finest
been made
silver
out for
elaichi,
bail.
a premium
Yes.
product from Dilbagh.
Once again,
Justice
India Today
Madam
wins the best news channel
But
of the
let me
year.
be clear about one thing. There might be something more which we don't know. Right? But from the facts which are available in the public domain, I think he deserves bail.
Okay, Justice Lokur, for answering all my questions and answering them so candidly, thank you very much for joining me here on the news today. In a way, he has set the stage. Justice
Thank
Lokur
you,
saying
Enba, for
this is a
all
case
of
of
these
bail,
awards.
not jail,
All
calling for a review
108
of the
of
PMLA,
them.
saying constitutional
But for
morality
us
requires
viewers,
Kejriwal to
the
resign, but
greatest
he's not
reward and
obligated
award
to do that.
is
Lots
your
of points
trust.
raised. Let's
We're
raise big
just
questions
weeks
to our
away from
political
a
guest now.
high-powered,
Is Kejriwal
high-pressure
being taken
election,
out of the
and
Lok
I
Sabha
know
campaign
that
as
your
his supporters
trust
allege?
will carry
Can
us through.
Kejriwal really function
Thank you.
effectively from
And by
jail
awardsman,
as the PMLA
Hum hai
being weaponized to
400
target
par.
political rivals of the government? Some of the questions that I will raise. Arjun Singh Bopra is Congress spokesperson and lawyer. R.P. Singh is BJP spokesperson. Priyanka Kakkar is from the Aam Aadmi Party. Appreciate all of you joining us.
With
R.P.
less
Singh,
than a
you might
month
have
for the
heard
big
there
Lok Sabha
Justice
polls,
Madan Lokur saying,
Katchatheevu,
based on the
an
facts of the
uninhabited
case
island
as they are
administered
available
by
in the
Sri
public
Lanka
domain,
has
he
become the
thinks this was
subject
a
of a
case for
political
bail,
war of words.
not jail. What was the necessity
Prime Minister
for arrest,
Narendra Modi
particularly
criticised
so
the
many
Congress for
months
giving away
after the
Katchatheevu to
original
Sri Lanka
case
years ago.
was prosecuted?
The Prime Minister accused the Congress of weakening the country's integrity and interests.
Rajdeep, good evening. You just mentioned a friend from Congress party as a liar. Adil Bopara is a very learned liar. You didn't mention Priyanka Kakkar is also a liar. And you were also trying to defend the Aam Aadmi Party with Justice Lokur. You're trying to plead the case with Justice Lokur as it was as a court room happening. And in a court you were trying to defend the Aam Aadmi Party.
I'm not, no, so that's unfair. Unfair, I ask question. My job is to, so let's not be unfair either to Justice Lokur or to me. Let's not again make it personal. I asked you a question. I expect the dignity of a decent answer. I said, do you believe on the basis, as Justice Lokur said, this was a case for bail, not jail? How do you respond?
This is not the first time the Prime Minister raised the Katchatheevu issue. Back in 2023, the Prime Minister had slammed the Congress, asking why it gave away part of motherland India.
Let me answer what I have to say. You had your point of view. You don't want to take it personal. Your viewers judge it. You know what you let your viewers judge it.
But the big story that we are breaking this evening, Arvind Kejriwal will spend his first night now in Tihar jail. He's been lodged in jail number 2. Kejriwal is to sleep on a slab of cement. 24
A reply to an
by
RTI
7
application
CCTV
filed by Tamil Nadu
surveillance of
BJP
Kejriwal's
President K.
barrack.
Annamalai
Sources
said
saying
that
6
Indira Gandhi
visitors, including
government
his
in
wife
1974
Sunita,
handed
will
over
be
the
allowed to
Katchatheevu
meet
Island,
Kejriwal. All
located
this
in
coming
Park
on a
Strait to
day
Sri Lanka.
when he was sent to judicial custody
Katchatheevu Island
for
was a
15
disputed
days
territory
till
between India and
April
Sri
the
Lanka
15th.
until
The Delhi court
1974.
remanding him there.
The island was
The ED
ceded by
in
the
its
Indian government
application
under Prime
interestingly
Minister
claiming
Indira
that
Gandhi to Sri
Kejriwal was
Lanka.
evasive
In
during
1974, they enacted
interrogation.
bilateral
Kejriwal
largesse.
supporters are
In
claiming that this is all a
1976,
plot
Indian
by the
fishermen were
Modi
barred from
government
fishing in
to prevent the
Katchatheevu.
Aam Aadmi Party
Tamil Nadu
leader and
fishermen
Delhi
have
Chief
been
Minister
against the
from
transfer as the
contest
agreement
from being
undermines the
allowed
livelihoods of
campaign
Indian fishermen.
in the Lok Sabha polls. Take a
Sitting
look
back at
at
BJP,
tonight's
both the
detailed
Congress
report.
and DMK said that the BJP has done no development work in the last 10 years and was bringing out old political issues to distract
Delhi
people.
Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal is jailed.
Tamil Nadu is crucial for the
A
BJP
Delhi
to
court
fulfill
on
their
Monday
mission
sent
set
him
for
to
NDA
14-day
to win
judicial
400 Lok
custody
Sabha
in the
seats.
liquor policy case.
Will the Katchatheevu issue give the BJP
enforcement
a
directed
boost in
produced
the southern
Kejriwal
state?
in the Rouse
Bureau
Avenue
Report,
Court,
India Today.
presided by Special Judge Kaveri Baveja after his custody ended. Kejriwal was sent to Tihar jail after the ED sought judicial remand. In its application to court, the ED alleged that Kejriwal had provided false and contradictory evidence during their inquiry. ED claimed Kejriwal had evaded questions and had refused to disclose passwords to his digital devices. Furthermore, he allegedly labelled his own party leaders as confused. Kejriwal claimed that accused Vijay Nair reported to Atishi and Saurabh Bharadwaj and asserted that his interaction with Nair was limited.
Taken your name in case of the first
Delhi Minister Atishi evaded questions on Kejriwal's claims.
According to them, Mr. Kejriwal has made a statement.
अरविंद केजरीवाल जी राजनीति में किसी को सामने नहीं आने देते। अब वो आतिशी जी को और सौरभ भारद्वाज को फंसाने जा रहे हैं क्योंकि वो जानते हैं अगर वो बाहर रहेंगे वो मुख्यमंत्री बन जाएंगे, अरविंद केजरीवाल जेल में रह जाएंगे।
Ahead of his court appearance, Kejriwal had criticized the Prime Minister's actions.
अरविंद जी पूरा इंडिया गठबंधन कल आपके लिए जुटा रामलीला मैदान क्या कहेंगे?
मंत्री जी जो ये कर रहे हैं ये देश के लिए अच्छा नहीं है।
Go presented by Green Lamb Laminates. कुछ मेरा कुछ तुम्हारा.
Accused the BJP government
MP
of
Birla
seeking
Cement
to
Perfect
incarcerate the
Plus.
ARC
Concrete
chief
Special.
during elections.
Co-powered by Parul University, Vadodara, Gujarat.
11 दिन उनकी पूछताछ
Co-powered by Panasonic AC for smart
अदालत
homes.
ने दोषी नहीं कहा।
Signature
उनको
Finest
जेल में
Silver
क्यों
in IT,
डाला है?
a premium product from Dilbar.
लोगों का एक ही मकसद है, उनको चुनावों में उनको जेल में डालना है। देश की जनता इस तानाशाही का जवाब देगी।
The BJP rejected the
Hello
ARC
and
charge,
welcome to another
accusing
edition of
Kejriwal of
Elections
playing
Unlocked,
victim
start of a
card.
brand new week, and we are up with all that's happening
Those who try
in the
to
battle for
portray
2024.
the bogey of
Today we are
victimhood,
turning first to the
I
battleground
would like
state
to
of Bihar, a
underline
state
that
where
today's
politics
judgment of the
courses
court
through its
is
waves,
based on the
and where
concrete
the
evidences.
first family
Now it
of the
raises
Rashtriya
certain
Janata Dal
moral and
is
constitutional
preparing to
questions.
launch
This is the
another
dictatorship of Mr. Modi.
Lalu Prasad's children in the
2,715
electoral fray. That's
crores.
right. Today RJD
BJP
President Lalu
extorted
Prasad and his
from
wife
industrialists
Rabri Devi
using ED.
offered prayers at the famous
Meanwhile, Kejriwal
Hariharnath
has made
temple in
specific
Bihar's
requests for his
Saran
stay in
district
Tihar
along with their
jail.
daughters
He has
Misa
sought permission
Bharti
to
and
take many
Rohini
books,
Acharya.
including
Both of
the
them are
Bhagavad
likely
Gita,
to try their luck in the Lok
Ramayana and
Sabha
Mahabharata.
elections this time.
He also wants
Misa
access to
is already
necessary
a known
medicines
name
and a
in the
special
political
diet.
arena, but not
Kejriwal has
so her
requested
sister
a table
Rohini
and a chair
Acharya,
to
who
facilitate
so
his
far
work
has remained
and
away
personal
from the
activities.
media spotlight, living a life of a
Several
homemaker
Aam Aadmi
in
Party
Singapore.
leaders
But now
including
she's back
Manish
and she wants to
Sisodia
contest
and
from
Satendra
Saran,
Jain
where
are
she's
already
likely
in
to take
Tihar
on
in separate
BJP's Rajdeep
Kejriwal
Modi.
also
It could be
said
one of the
BJP
battles to watch out
uphill
for
battle
in
to salvage
2024.
its political
Let's take a look at
in
this report by my
2024
colleague
elections.
Rohit Singh.
With Munish Pandey, Shreya Chatterjee and Srishti Ojha in Delhi. Bureau Report, India Today.
And joining me now is the first of my special guests, Justice Madan Lokur, former
Flanked
Supreme
by her
Court
parents,
judge,
husband
joins me
and
at
sister,
this moment.
supporting her
Appreciate
from behind.
You're joining us, Justice Lokur. Let's turn to
Rohini
this Arvind
Acharya
Kejriwal
sought
case.
celestial blessings
The Delhi
at
liquor
Hariharnath
policy
Temple
scam, as
before
it's being
setting
called,
off
the
for election
investigations
campaign in
began
Saran.
in August of 2022. Arrests were made in September, October. We are now in April of 2024. Mr. Kejriwal has been arrested, sent to 15 days judicial custody, and the ED says they sent in 8 summons which he did not appear before them. So he's
Veteran
been
politician
arrested.
Lalu
There are
Yadav is all
approvers
set to
there.
launch
They claim they
another
will
of
have
his
a
children
chain that will
in
link
electoral
Mr.
politics.
Kejriwal, whom they call a mastermind.
And this daughter is
How do you
even
see
more
this
special.
case then as a possible
Rohini
excess
was
of
named
power,
after the
abuse of
obstetrician
power by the
doctor
ED,
who helped
or
in her birth.
as the ED is claiming,
She studied
a
medicine but
necessary
never
step
practiced
to
it
prevent money
and has
laundering
been living
and crack
in
this
Singapore
case.
after her marriage. But
Well,
when Lalu Yadav
I
was
think
sick,
this
it
is,
was Rohini who came forward to donate a
an
kidney
exercise
for her
that
father.
has been taken
Rohini
by the
Acharya has
Enforcement
since then
Directorate in
gained
excess
popularity because
its
of her
powers.
social media activism.
You see, for example,
सिंगापुर से ही हम
in
सबके
August
नाक में दम किए हुए थे।
2022
अब
the
जब
whole
यहाँ
thing
पे
started.
धरती पे
Okay?
सारण की धरती
So
पे आ
we
गए
are
तो सारण
almost
हम अकेले
1.5
वहाँ पे नाक में
years
सबके दम
down the
किए हुए थे।
line.
सारण की धरती पे आ गए तो
Now-
सारण की पूरा जनता मेरा साथ देगी।
is the Enforcement Directorate trying to say
After
that listen,
Misa
we've not been
Bharti,
able to complete the
Tej
investigation
Pratap
in 1.5
and
years.
Tejasvi Yadav, Rohini
In spite of
Acharya
the
is
fact
the latest
that
from the
they've put
RJD
in,
first
Manish
family
Sisodia
to
inside
make
for such a
an
long time.
electoral debut.
All right. So,
With Rohit Singh,
what is it
Bureau Report,
that is preventing
India
them
Today.
from completing the investigation? You know, I mean, if they
Joining
have
me
the
now
material,
is Santosh Singh.
why are they not
Santosh
in a position to
has
file the
written an
charge sheet?
excellent book
Why
on
is it
Bihar.
taking
He is,
them
of
so
course, with the
long
Indian Express
to figure out
their
what to do?
Patna bureau chief. Appreciate
Right?
you're joining
And
me,
what is the
Santosh. What are you
material
making out of
on the basis of
another
which they have come to
daughter
the
of Lalu
conclusion, or the
Prasad Yadav,
authority has
another
come to the
child of
conclusion
Lalu Prasad being
that,
launched
Mr.
in
Kejriwal should be
politics?
arrested?
What's the message that's being sent
you know,
out that
and
the
if that
RJD is
material
still
was in
very much
existence
a
earlier, why didn't they
family-run
arrest him
party?
earlier?
Why didn't they arrest him earlier? You see, the
very much
argument
so.
the
Your
Enforcement
question
Directorate
is
is
self-answered,
making, Justice
Rajdeep.
Lokur, is they've
Of course,
gone
yes.
step by
But
step.
that said,
They've arrested
you
various
could not have
individuals
got
and
a
have
better
built a
candidate
chain
than
that
Rohini
links
Acharya
the
for
so-called
Saran.
southern
The seat
cartel
he
of
represented
distillers
several times.
with the Delhi government and payments
Last time
made.
it was
They've got
Chandikara,
approvers in
the
place.
father-in-law of
And as I said earlier,
Pratap
they
Yadav,
sent
he
8
contested
summons to
and
Mr.
lost. And
Kejriwal
before
starting
that,
in October
Rowdy Devi had
2023.
contested and lost to
So
Raji
when
Pratap Rodi.
there are people who are questioning the
Let us
timing
see
and saying
whether
why arrest someone
Rohini
just before an
Acharya
election,
can
the Enforcement
break the
Directorate
jinx
is
for
turning around and saying, look,
RJD
we've
family.
been trying to get
She
summons
is
and
making
question him 6
debut
months
and
ago, and we've
we
carefully
all know
crafted
that
this
she
case
has
step by
donated
step.
kidney to
None of the accused have
her
got bail,
father,
not
and
even
Lalu
Manish
Prasad
Sisodia.
talks about it at almost at every
Well, first
forum
of all, I
to
think,
strike an emotional chord with the people.
the accused should have got
We
bail,
have to see whether
right?
that goes well with
Why
the
are they
audience
being kept in
or
jail?
or the voters
that is the
would
question
react
that has to be
differently.
asked.
We have to go to the field
Alright.
to check it out.
Now,
But yes,
I think the law is very
two
well
sons
settled
already
that
in
if you are going to tamper with the
electoral
evidence,
politics. Both are MLAs. Tejasvi Prasad Yadav, of course, former Deputy Chief Minister, now Leader of Opposition. Tej Pratap Yadav is former Minister.
Manish Sisodia, for example,
Rohini Acharya is very much in the fray, and Visa Bharti already Rajya Sabha MP. She has already contested twice in from Patliputra and but lost to Ram Kripal Yadav.
So
let us see what happens in the battle of Saran.
The Enforcement Directorate.
Why do you think? What is it about Saran that makes makes Lalu Prasad and his family look at it as a family bastion? Is it the caste demographics of Saran that tempt Lalu that I must try, even though, as you said, Rabri has lost there, other members of the family have lost to Mr. Rudy. What makes them look at Saran
They have
as
a constitutional
seat that they
right
can win?
to remain silent.
Of course,
So after you arrest
the
a person,
Muslim Yadav constitute the
you can't ask
predominant
him to,
Muslim Yadav population.
confess to everything
It's
unless he
called
wants
the
to.
Yadav bastion after Madhepura.
Justice
It's
Tokut,
one
let me just
important
stop you for a
constituency,
moment.
one
You say you are
constituency
surprised
from where
that
Lalu
bail has
Prasad
not
never
been
lost.
granted and
He
they've all
did
been sent
lose
to jail in this
to
case.
Sarad Yadav
This
from
is where I come to
Madhepura
a critical point that the
and
Prevention
his
of
friend
Money
Ranjan
Laundering
Yadav
Act,
from
as it is
Patliputra,
drafted
but he
today,
never
has been
lost
seen by many
to anyone
legal
from
luminaries
Saran.
as a draconian law. It has
Saran
reversed
is
the
one
entire
constituency
basis
which Lalu Prasad Yadav
bail,
wants to regain
not
at any
jail.
cost.
The Supreme
Of
Court
course,
had
there
said
is
in the
a
state of Rajasthan case way back in
besides the Muslim
77
Yadav, a
that
lot
bail
of
not jail
PVC,
should
lot
be
of
the rule.
Prakash
It's now
Rajputs. So
effectively
we
been
have
reversed in
to
PMLA to
see
jail not
whether
bail.
if
Does that make
RJD
in a
is able
sense?
to get
Is
MY
PMLA
plus
the
on the
problem?
platter or
Or
not.
is it the
That is to be seen.
enforcement
Which
directorate or whoever is
Tejasvi Yadav
allowing the
famously not talks
enforcement
about the
directorate
BAP
to
factor,
weaponize
which is
PMLA, which is
expanded
the
as
problem?
the Bahujan, Agada, Adi, Abadi
Both.
and poor.
Both.
Whether it's very
You see,
catchy
it's not
slogan,
mandatory.
but whether he can
It's not
translate
mandatory that you have to arrest a
votes,
person.
that has to be said. That's
Right?
not the
So,
Saran
when you arrest a
specific
person,
thing. I think that with the
the law says
pen
that he
Bihar
has to,
thing,
you
which
know,
will
prove his
may
innocence.
play out in the election.
All right, that's a draconian
One final
aspect.
question.
That's
While
a question
Santosh,
of
the
reverse
attention will be
onus.
on Rohini, of
All
course,
right,
in
which is
Saran.
draconian.
I presume that
Because the
Tejasvi
normal
is seen
presumption
as
is
the heir
that a person
apparent
is
of
innocent
Lalu Prasad.
until proved
There's
guilty.
no doubt
But
about
here
that.
the
Am I
onus is
correct that
reversed.
he is the face
That's one
of the
draconian
party
aspect.
now?
The second
Of
aspect
course, yes.
is
Of course,
the procedure.
yes. He has
Why
made a
are
tremendous
you
growth
arresting
in
him?
2020 election when
I mean, are
RJD
you
was
arresting him
almost
because
close
you have
to
the
power
power to
by
arrest?
getting 110
If that is,
seats, only 12
the
starts of simple
explanation, then
majority.
I'm sorry,
now
it can't be like that.
his speeches
But
in
may I
Patna
say,
rally,
Justice
then in
Lokur, that it is
Mumbai,
the
then in
Supreme Court
Delhi,
itself which in
and
July
the chord he strikes with
2022
the national. He
ratified
already, I
many of
think,
these
emerged as
very
a national leader.
provisions of
His
the
job
PMLA
theme
that
has
has
gone
virtually
very well,
given the enforcement
very well with the
directorate
people.
the kind of
I
power
have
that they
tracked
can
his
go ahead and do these
tracked him
summary
from Patna to
arrests.
Samastipur.
Some on
I have
mere
seen the
suspicion,
delirious
some would
crowds
say, but with
after
reasonable
him.
belief.
So I just
in a
want to
way,
try to
and-
make out whether the job
and that
thing
judgment
can
has
cut
not
into the
been
vote
reviewed
base
till
of
date. Even
NDA
the
or into
Supreme
the
Court
popularity
has
of
said it
Narendra
will
Modi
review it.
in the Lok
We are
Sabha
now
election
in
as well,
2024,
or whether it
and the
can
bench
be
has not even met
left
to
out
review
for
that
the
critical
assembly
judgment
elections.
on PMLA. Very interesting, Santosh. We'll keep coming to you in the months ahead. Bihar promises to be a fascinating battle as always, and now, as you said, you've got another member of Lalu Prasad's family entering the poll fray. Thanks very much, Santosh Singh, for joining me there from Patna.
Thank you so much, Rajdeep.
Okay, let's turn to another interesting constituency that's going to polls in this month of April, and that's Pilibhit in the foothills of Western UP, a constituency that's been loyal to Maneka Gandhi and to her son Varun Gandhi since 1989. Now, 2024 is the first time that neither Maneka or Varun are contesting from this UP seat. Instead, Jitin Prasad is the candidate who's been given the ticket that Varun Gandhi was holding in the last couple of elections. He'll be facing Samajwadi Party and BSP candidates. Now, in the absence of Varun Gandhi or Maneka Gandhi, can the BJP retain Pilibhit? Today's ground report from Kumar Abhishek.
You trying to plead the case with Justice Lokur as it was as a courtroom happening.
Pilibhit, in the northeastern part of Rohilkhand division, is situated in the sub-Himalayan belt on the boundary of Nepal. Since 1989, Pilibhit has been the stronghold of the other Gandhis, Maneka and her son Varun. Maneka Gandhi represented Pilibhit for 6 times in the parliament, while Varun has been its MP twice. But things have changed for Pilibhit in 2024. This loyal BJP bastion has other options. Varun Gandhi wrote an emotional letter to Pilibhit, calling it his Karma Bhumi and promising to continue to work for its people. Jitin Prasad is the chosen candidate by the BJP, replacing Varun Gandhi.
ये सीट परंपरागत रूप में भारतीय जनता पार्टी की रही है। यहाँ पे लगातार देखा होगा आपने कि कमल का फूल ही खिला है और ये क्षेत्र जो रहा है यहाँ बहुत से कार्य हुए हैं और मुझे भी सौभाग्य प्राप्त हुआ। मुझे नहीं मालूम था कि मैं यहाँ चुनाव लड़ूंगा। बात है पार्टी पहले है, फिर हम लोग व्यक्ति है और पार्टी जो निर्णय लेती है उस पर सब पालन।
Pilibhit is also called Mini Punjab, and Sikh farmers are the backbone of this area. They have been a loyal vote bank of Varun Gandhi and his mother. Varun Gandhi, though stayed away from most BJP party activities in the area in the past 5 years, he stood firmly by the agitating farmers during the recent farm movement.
वरुण गांधी का बीजेपी से कोई रिश्ता नहीं था। ये बड़ी अटपटी सी बात है क्योंकि भाजपा के सांसद हैं, लेकिन संगठन से उनका कोई रिश्ता नहीं था। भाजपा नेताओं से, कार्यकर्ताओं से उनका कोई सरोकार नहीं था। उनकी अपनी अलग टीम थी। समझता कि वरुण गांधी के टिकट न होने से बीजेपी को कोई नुकसान नहीं।
Jitin Prasad is campaigning on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's guarantee.
और 19 तारीख को जब कमल का फूल का पतन रिकॉर्ड तरीके से लगेगा तो पूरे भारत में संदेश जाएगा पीलीभीत जनता का कि निर्णय साफ है। आंधी चल रही है। प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में तीसरी बार जो सरकार बनेगी वो ऐतिहासिक होगी। मैं यही कह सकता हूँ अपने बारे में कि ये क्षेत्र कोई नया नहीं है। यहाँ के
In 2019, SP and BSP fought together, but that's not the case this time around. While SP has pitched former State Minister for Small-Scale Industries, Bhagwat Saran Gangwar, BSP hopes to unite Muslim, Dalit and Lodhi Rajput votes in its favour by fielding Anis Ahmed.
बीएसपी का समीकरण एक तमाम वो लोग जो पीलीभीत के अच्छे लोग हैं, जो बदलाव चाहते हैं और जो बहुजन समाज पार्टी का कैडर वोट है और उसके अलावा जो पीलीभीत का अच्छा वोटर है हम लोग के साथ।
Pilibhit suffers from tiger man confrontation often. On the festive day of Holi, a 19-year-old was killed in another such man-animal conflict.
लोग धरना करते हैं, प्रदर्शन करते हैं, उसमें तो वहाँ के जो क्षेत्रीय नेता होते हैं वो जाते हैं, पहुँचते हैं, लेकिन चुनाव